Today I will share with you some life-changing philosophy. Before we start, make sure to like the video and subscribe. Also, comment where are you watching from and at what time you are watching. Have a nice sleep. Did you know that the choices you make today can add or subtract years from your life? This idea traces back to ancient Stoic philosophy, which teaches us to embrace life's chaos with wisdom and make choices that enhance our well-being. You might not think much of it when you decide to stay up late to finish just one more episode or scroll through your phone, but each night of insufficient sleep is quietly stealing a little more from you than just time. It's compromising your health, vitality, and even your ability to think clearly. In the realm of Stoicism, Seneca warned about overindulging in the unnecessary at the expense of our health and peace of mind, and sleep, undeniably, is one of the pillars of both. When we cut corners on sleep, we're not just facing a groggy morning, we're impacting our body's ability to regenerate. Sleep is that golden chain that ties our health and our bodies together. It's the prime time when our body engages in repairing cells, flushing out toxins from the brain and solidifying memories. Missing out on adequate sleep disrupts these processes, accelerating our aging and even impacting our metabolism and mood. Consider this. Ongoing research in neurology shows that during sleep, our brain essentially cleans house. It removes toxins that accumulate throughout the day, akin to how the ancient Stoics believed in cleansing the soul of unnecessary fears and desires to achieve clarity and peace. Without enough sleep, we're letting those toxins build up night after night, which can lead to long-term detriments in cognitive functions and overall health. Life often feels like a high-speed chase that we didn't sign up for. With stress as the relentless driver pushing us to our limit, it's easy to overlook how this invisible pressure can accumulate and sculpt our daily existence, not just emotionally but physically, accelerating our aging process. Stoic philosophy, particularly the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, reminds us that while we cannot control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. And when it comes to stress, our response could mean the difference between thriving and merely surviving. Stress, in its essence, is your body's call to arms, the fight-or-flight response that was crucial for our ancestors' survival. But in our modern world, this response can become chronic, triggered not by life-threatening dangers, but by daily demands and disruptions. When we allow this state to become our status quo, it starts chipping away at our biological health, shortening those crucial telomeres, protective caps at the ends of our chromosomes that keep our DNA stable, and thus directly impact our longevity. The Stoics taught that peace comes from within, suggesting that we can build resilience to stress through perspective and practice. They weren't just being poetic. Modern science backs this up, showing that meditation, controlled breathing, and mindfulness are effective tools for reducing stress. These practices help recalibrate our physiological responses and can significantly lower levels of cortisol, the stress hormone that, when left unchecked, wreaks havoc on our bodies, contributing to everything from inflammation to weakened immune systems. It's tempting to reach for that quick meal solution after a long, exhausting day. Fast food takeouts or those packaged meals that only need a few minutes in the microwave. We often eat not just with our stomachs but with our eyes and schedules, forgetting that every morsel we consume builds or degrades our health. Stoic philosophy, particularly its emphasis on moderation and mindfulness, offers profound guidance on this topic. Just as Seneca advised against filling one's life with unnecessary pursuits, we should avoid filling our bodies with low-nutrient, high-calorie foods that don't serve our health. Every meal is an opportunity to nourish your body and soul, echoing the Stoic principle of purposeful living. Consider the profound impact of food on your body's functions. Cells regenerate, energies are replenished, and mental acuity is maintained based on the quality of your nutrition. Poor eating habits can lead to a cascade of health issues, from increased inflammation and reduced ability to fight off diseases to more visible signs of aging and decreased energy levels. Eating well, in contrast, can support longer telomeres, which are essential components in the fight against the biological aging process. The Stoics understood the value of self-discipline and control, and applying these to our diet can transform our health. Incorporating a balance of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins isn't just about adhering to dietary guidelines. It's about respecting your body's inherent worth and potential. This approach aligns with the Stoic ideal of aligning actions with nature and reason. By choosing meals that are as close to their natural state as possible, we honor our body's natural design, which thrives on whole, unprocessed foods. You might find it surprising to hear that your couch, often a haven of comfort after a long day, could be one of your biggest adversaries in maintaining a healthy lifestyle. It's so easy to collapse into its welcoming embrace and stay there, binging the latest series or scrolling endlessly through our phones. But this very comfort can lead to a sedentary lifestyle, which is silently but steadily taking a toll on our health. The Stoics often emphasized the importance of physical activity as part of a balanced life. They understood that a sound mind resides in a sound body, and that neglecting physical health could hinder one's ability to practice virtues like discipline and self-control. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic himself and a Roman emperor, despite his extensive duties, made it a point to incorporate physical exercise into his daily routine, understanding its critical role in maintaining not only physical but also mental strength. In today's world, a sedentary lifestyle has become more prevalent due to technological advances that encourage us to stay stationary. What we often don't realize is that by not moving, we're robbing our body of its basic need for physical exertion, which can result in a variety of health issues, from cardiovascular diseases to a decline in mental health. Physical inactivity slows down our metabolism, reduces the effectiveness of blood circulation, and can lead to muscle and joint issues, making us age faster, physically and mentally. Integrating movement into our daily routine is not just about avoiding health problems, it's about enhancing our quality of life. The Stoics would advise us to challenge our body's limits and capabilities as a form of self-improvement, and to live in accordance with nature, which inherently involves movement. You don't need to become a marathon runner overnight or hit the gym for hours every day. Simple, consistent activities like taking a walk during lunch breaks, using stairs instead of elevators, standing up and stretching every hour during long periods of sitting, or engaging in hobbies that require physical movement can make a profound difference. Think about the last time you really quenched your thirst with a refreshing glass of water. It feels revitalizing, doesn't it? Often, we underestimate the power of staying hydrated, ignoring our body's cries for water until we feel the undeniable signs of thirst. Yet, maintaining adequate hydration is not just about quelling thirst. It's a fundamental aspect of health that too many of us overlook, much to our detriment. Drawing from Stoic philosophy, which teaches the importance of attending to our natural needs with simplicity and purpose, staying hydrated aligns perfectly with living a life in harmony with nature. Seneca, one of the most notable Stoics, emphasized the need for balance and argued against indulgence, excess, or deficiency, including in our diet and basic care of our bodies. Water, the most natural beverage, is crucial for maintaining this balance, supporting every cellular process in our body. Dehydration is a subtle thief. It slowly undermines our health, impacting everything from cognitive function and energy levels to skin health and digestion. Each cell in our body requires water to function optimally. Without adequate water, our cells start to shrivel, hampering their ability to generate energy and leading to premature aging and decreased bodily function. The skin, which is our largest organ, visibly reflects our hydration levels. Adequate water intake helps maintain its elasticity and vibrancy. Warding off signs of aging, like wrinkles and dryness, a golden tan might be seen as a hallmark of health and vitality, symbolizing leisurely days spent outdoors or on vacation. However, it's worth considering the Stoic perspective that appearances can be deceptive, and what seems beneficial on the surface may carry hidden risks. The sun, as life-giving and essential as it is, can be a double-edged sword when it comes to our health, particularly when we indulge in it without moderation or protection. The Stoics, always advocates for living in harmony with nature, would surely have appreciated the sun's vital role. Yet they would also have been the first to remind us of the importance of self-control and rational behavior. Just as they would counsel moderation in all things, they would likely advise us to enjoy the sun's embrace wisely. Excessive sun exposure can lead to premature aging of the skin, not to mention more serious health risks like skin cancer. The UV rays that make those beach days so memorable are the same ones that can cause damage to the DNA in our skin cells, leading to accelerated skin aging and increased health risks. When we expose ourselves to the sun without adequate protection, we're not just risking a painful sunburn. UV radiation penetrates deep into the skin and disrupts the normal process of skin cell growth. Over time, this leads to changes in skin texture, loss of elasticity, and the formation of wrinkles and sunspots. It's almost paradoxical how a habit such as smoking, often started under the guise of enhancing social interactions or alleviating stress, can so drastically reduce both the quality and duration of one's life. The momentary pleasure of a cigarette can have lasting negative impacts, something that, from a Stoic perspective, would be seen as a clear divergence from living a life based on rational choices and good health. The Stoics taught us the importance of self-mastery and control over one's impulses and desires. Smoking, with its addictive nature and harmful consequences, is a prime example of what happens when short-term desires override long-term well-being. Every puff of a cigarette introduces thousands of chemicals into the body, including nicotine, which is highly addictive and toxic. It's not just the lungs that are affected. Smoking impacts nearly every organ in the body, contributing to a variety of diseases and chronically undermining one's health. From a Stoic standpoint, engaging in an activity that knowingly damages one's body contradicts the principle of living according to nature. The body's nature is to heal and maintain itself, but smoking impedes this natural ability, causing harm that is entirely preventable. The damage begins with diminished lung capacity and can extend to heart disease, stroke, and multiple types of cancer, not to mention the cosmetic effects such as premature aging of the skin and staining of teeth. Quitting smoking is not just about avoiding negative outcomes. It's a profound way to practice Stoic virtues like discipline and foresight, actively choosing a healthier path not only for yourself but also setting an example for those around you. While a glass of wine or a pint of beer might be how many of us choose to unwind after a long day, there's a fine line between moderate enjoyment and excess that can easily be crossed. This is particularly poignant when considering the Stoic emphasis on moderation and self-control, virtues that guide us to make decisions that align with our long-term well-being rather than immediate gratification. The Stoics were advocates for living a life that was free from the control of desires and passions, and this certainly extends to how we might choose to engage with alcohol. Excessive drinking not only clouds judgment in the moment, but also has far-reaching effects on our health. Alcohol is a hepatotoxin, which means it specifically damages the liver, an organ essential to detoxifying our body. Over time, this can lead to liver diseases such as cirrhosis, which dramatically shortens a person's life expectancy and quality. Moreover, alcohol affects nearly every system in the body. It can disrupt sleep patterns, leading to less restorative sleep, which in turn affects cognitive functions and overall physical health. It can also lead to an increase in blood pressure and contribute to the development of heart disease. On a cellular level, excessive alcohol consumption accelerates aging by impacting the length of telomeres, protective caps on our chromosomes that are linked to our lifespan. Each binge drinking session can actually shorten these caps, effectively speeding up the aging process. From a Stoic perspective, indulging in too much alcohol might be seen as surrendering to external pleasures that compromise our inner equilibrium and health, the very opposites of Stoic ideals. Stoicism teaches us to find joy and contentment in our internal states and rational thinking, not from external substances. It's often easy to overlook how integral social connections are to our well-being, especially in a world that increasingly values independence and self-sufficiency. Yet, in the hustle of striving to be self-reliant, we might inadvertently isolate ourselves, missing out on the profound benefits that come from regular social interactions. This concept aligns closely with Stoic principles, which, while often misinterpreted as promoting a solitary life, actually encourage forming meaningful relationships to enhance personal growth and emotional resilience. The Stoics believed in the power of community and the importance of supporting others as a way of cultivating virtue. Seneca, for example, wrote extensively about the benefits of friendship and social obligations, suggesting that true support between friends strengthens one's character and fortifies one against life's adversities. In contrast, isolation can lead to loneliness, which has been shown in numerous studies to increase the risk of mortality as much as smoking or obesity. It's not just about feeling alone, it's about the tangible impact that lack of social interaction can have on our physical and mental health. Socializing helps to ward off the cognitive decline associated with aging, boosts mood through the release of neurotransmitters like serotonin, and strengthens our immune system. It's as if our bodies are designed to interact, thriving on the shared experiences that help regulate our emotions and improve our psychological resilience. From a Stoic viewpoint, neglecting this aspect of our nature might be seen as ignoring the very essence of what it means to live a good life. When we drift through days, weeks, and even years without a clear direction or purpose, it can often feel like we're merely existing rather than truly living. This lack of purpose isn't just a philosophical dilemma. It affects our everyday happiness and overall well-being. The Stoics, wise as they were, believed fervently in living with intent and purpose. They saw this as essential not only to personal fulfillment, but also to contributing effectively to society. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often wrote about the importance of acting with a clear and honorable purpose, emphasizing that the quality of one's life improves dramatically when one's actions are aligned with well-considered goals and principles. Living without a clear purpose can lead to a form of existential stagnation, where time feels like it's slipping by unproductively. This can sap one's enthusiasm for life, leading to feelings of listlessness and dissatisfaction. The Stoics would argue that without a guiding purpose, it's easy to fall prey to petty annoyances and distractions that can dominate our thoughts and emotions. Purpose acts like a compass, guiding us through life's challenges with focus and resilience. It gives us a reason to rise each morning and face the day with vigor and determination. Having a sense of purpose is also linked to numerous health benefits, including better mental health, lower levels of stress, and even a longer lifespan. It contributes to our ability to adapt to change and overcome adversity. Just as a ship without a rudder is left to the mercy of the seas, a life without purpose is vulnerable to the whims of fortune. The Stoics understood this well and recommended that we define our values and align our actions accordingly. Many of us have a tendency to put off medical checkups, especially when we're feeling well. It's easy to brush these appointments aside, viewing them as unnecessary time away from our daily tasks or commitments. However, much like the Stoics advocated for a rational and proactive approach to life's challenges, prioritizing preventive healthcare can be seen as an exercise in wisdom and self-respect. Just as a Stoic would inspect their thoughts and behaviors regularly to align with their virtues, we too should inspect our physical health regularly to prevent potential issues from escalating. The Stoic philosophy teaches the importance of maintaining control over the things we can influence, and our health certainly falls within that realm. Regular medical checkups serve as a preventive measure, a way to catch potential health issues before they develop into serious problems. It's about respecting our body's needs and responding to them thoughtfully. This approach not only helps in maintaining our health, but also exemplifies the Stoic ideal of not yielding to negligence or ignorance. Skipping these checkups can often lead to a false sense of security. Without them, we might not be aware of the changes occurring in our bodies. Changes that, if caught early, could be addressed more easily and with better outcomes. Conditions like hypertension, diabetes, and many cancers can develop quietly, without obvious symptoms. By the time symptoms do appear, these conditions can be significantly more difficult to manage. In this digital age, it's all too easy to find ourselves glued to screens, whether it's for work or leisure. While technology certainly brings countless benefits, including connecting us with others and providing vast resources for learning, there's a downside that we often overlook. Spending too much time in front of screens can subtly erode our health and well-being, impacting everything from our sleep patterns to our mental clarity. The Stoics, ancient philosophers who valued discipline and moderation, would likely caution us against allowing any one tool, such as our digital devices, to dominate our lives. They taught the importance of maintaining a balanced life, one that includes physical activity, social interactions, and time for reflection, all of which can be compromised by excessive screen time. Just as they would advise against overindulgence in any pleasure, they would recommend we use technology wisely, ensuring it serves us without becoming our master. When we spend excessive time staring at screens, we often sacrifice physical health, mental space, and valuable time that could be spent engaging with the real world. This can lead to a host of issues, such as digital eye strain, poor posture, and disrupted sleep, as the blue light emitted by screens can interfere with our natural sleep cycles. More subtly, heavy screen use can also lead to a feeling of disconnection from our immediate environment and the people around us, contributing to feelings of isolation or loneliness. It might come as a surprise to think of laughter and fun as essential elements of a well-rounded, healthy life, especially from a philosophical standpoint like Stoicism, which is often misunderstood as austere or somber. However, the Stoics, including the likes of Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, emphasized the importance of joy and the role of positive emotions in fostering resilience against life's hardships. They recognized that laughter is not frivolous, it strengthens the spirit and fortifies us against the trials of life. In our modern lives, the hustle of daily responsibilities can sometimes make us forget the value of taking a moment to just laugh and enjoy simple pleasures. Laughter has been shown to have numerous health benefits. It can boost the immune system, decrease stress hormones, and increase endorphins, those chemicals in the brain that are known for their feel-good factor. Moreover, laughter enhances our intake of oxygen-rich air, stimulates the heart, lungs, and muscles, and increases the endorphins released by our brain, promoting an overall sense of well-being. From a Stoic viewpoint, neglecting the lighter side of life could be seen as neglecting a part of our human nature that is essential for our overall harmony and balance. Stoics believed in embracing all facets of human experience with wisdom and clarity, including the joyful ones. They would advocate for a life that does not shun laughter but welcomes it as a necessary ingredient for a soul well-equipped to handle life's vicissitudes. Picture your life right now. What do you see? If all you see are failures, I want you to know something. That view can change. If you're staring at an endless wasteland, I'm here to show you how to spot the seeds of opportunity. The transformation begins in the most powerful place you can imagine, your mind. In this video, we'll explore 5 proven techniques that turn mental defeat into victories. Each one uses something remarkable you already possess, the incredible power of human thought. Through the wisdom of Stoic philosophy, you'll learn to reshape negative thoughts into an engine for growth. Keep watching until the end, because each technique will build on the last one to construct a bigger whole. By the time we're done, these 5 strategies won't just be concepts. They'll be tools you can use every day. You'll discover how to transform what you once saw as failure into fuel for becoming stronger, more resilient, and more powerful than ever before. Think of it this way. No matter how rough your life might be right now, it could be worse. You can move around and enjoy real freedom. But one of the most famous Stoic thinkers of all time, a man who personified Stoicism and who we still read today, didn't have that good fortune. I can confidently say that every single person watching this is living a life with more freedom and opportunity than this Stoic did, because he was a slave. This slave's name was Epictetus, and he was born in the year 50 AD. He lived a hard life as a slave, as all slaves do. In fact, his leg was permanently damaged by his master. Yet despite that, Epictetus became one of the most influential philosophers in human history. This man who had nothing, no freedom, no possessions, no right to even live on his own, discovered something profound. While his body was in chains, his mind remained free. He realized that true power isn't in controlling your circumstances, but in controlling your response to them. Epictetus' life did eventually become better since he was released from slavery, but after gaining his freedom, he didn't become bitter, even though he had every right to be. Instead, he built a school where he taught others how to find strength in adversity. His teachings were so powerful that they influenced Roman emperors, modern CEOs, and even prisoners of war, who used his principles to survive unimaginable conditions. We know and honor the name of Epictetus over 1,000 years later. Think about where he started and where he ended, using only the power of his mind. If Epictetus could find freedom and strength while literally enslaved, imagine what you can do with the challenges you're facing. His life proves that your circumstances don't define you, your response to them does. Let me show you how to apply his wisdom to your life. The control principle. Epictetus said, "Some things are in our control and others are not." Simple, right? But this basic idea can transform your life once you truly understand it. Think about your last major setback. Maybe it was a job rejection, a failed relationship, or a missed opportunity. Now, grab a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle. On one side, write what you could control about that situation. On the other, write what you couldn't. Here's what happens. Most people waste enormous mental energy on things they can't influence. You can't change the weather, so why feel bad about it as a single person? You can't change an election outcome. That's decided by millions of people. If you lose a job where the people in charge aren't being fair, what can you do? That's outside your control. But how you did your work, that was all you. The effort you put into it, also you. This isn't just philosophy, it's practical mental fitness. Every time you catch yourself stressing about something, ask, is this in my control? If it's not, let it go completely. If it is, take action. Nothing in between. Look at what Epictetus had to work with. He was a slave. He owned nothing and could change very little about his material life before he was free. Yet, he persevered. He kept his mind and spirit strong. He had a worse deal than we do, yet he lived with it and ultimately overcame it with the help of Stoic philosophy. Let Epictetus be your inspiration. If he could do it, you can too. Technique 1. The view from above. We call our first technique the view from above. Let me show you how this works with a simple exercise you can do right now. Think of something that's bothering you and work through it like this. Say you just lost a job opportunity you really wanted. Your mind may be racing with thoughts like, I'm not good enough, I'll never succeed. This is where a thought process we call the control principle becomes your superpower. Take that situation and break it down. What could you control? Your presentation. That's on you. What couldn't you control? The other person. Their decision by design is outside your control. When you separate these elements, you stop carrying the weight of things you couldn't influence anyway. But here's the best part. Once you identify what you can control, you can develop an action plan. Maybe you can improve your interview skills, build a stronger portfolio, expand your network. Suddenly, instead of feeling helpless, you're in the driver's seat. That's the kind of mental transition we want to make. Try this with any challenge you're facing. Draw the line. Separate what you can and can't control. Watch how your perspective shifts from feeling trapped to becoming empowered. Technique 2. Self-dialogue. Our second technique, self-dialogue, builds perfectly on what we just learned. Once you've identified what you can control, it's time to master the conversation happening in your own mind. Think about how you talk to yourself when things go wrong. Many of us become our own worst critics. I'm such a failure. Nothing ever works out. I should just give up. Sound familiar? Here's a powerful shift. Instead of letting these thoughts run wild, imagine you're advising your best friend. You wouldn't tell your friend they're worthless after one setback. That's excessively negative, and you know it. You'd say something like, okay, what can we learn from this? Or, this was a tough loss, but if we recover from this, we can win. Try this right now. Take that situation you just analyzed from technique 1. When those negative thoughts come up, Pause and ask, what would I tell someone I care about in this situation? Then use that same compassionate, constructive voice with yourself. Marcus Aurelius, another great Stoic, wrote his famous meditations as letters to himself. He knew that self-dialogue isn't just talk. It's how we reshape our entire perspective on challenges. This brings us to our third powerful technique, finding strength through role models. The Stoics understood something crucial. We learn best through examples, not just ideas. Remember Epictetus? He became a role model for countless others and still is one today. Think about someone you admire who stays calm under pressure. Maybe it's a parent who faced adversity with grace, a politician who leads with poise, or even a fictional character who embodies resilience. The key isn't to idolize them, but to understand their thought process. Here's how to make this practical. When you're facing a challenge, ask yourself, how would my role model handle this? Maybe they'd take a step back before reacting. Maybe they'd look for the opportunity within the setback. Maybe they'd simply accept what they can't change and focus on what they can. Let me give you a modern example. When Admiral James Stoic was a prisoner of war in Vietnam, he used Stoic principles to survive 7 years in captivity. He didn't just endure, he led other prisoners and emerged stronger, eventually landing a spot as a vice presidential candidate who shared his story with millions. Choose your role model carefully. Look for people who demonstrate real resilience, not just success. Study how they think in addition to what they achieved. Then, the next time you're in a crisis, think about how they would have handled it. We all need help from time to time, so let the example they set help you. Now we arrive at arguably the most powerful technique of all, reframing your so-called failures. Learn to see failure not as an endpoint, but as feedback. This isn't just positive thinking. It's a complete transformation in how you process setbacks. Think about Thomas Edison's famous response when asked about his thousands of failed attempts to create the light bulb. I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. This isn't just a clever quote. It's Stoicism in action. Edison saw each failure as a data point, not a defeat. And he was one of America's greatest entrepreneurs. When the history of America and the history of progress is told, Edison is always included. So here's how to make this shift for yourself. Next time something goes wrong, pause before the negative thoughts kick in. Ask yourself 3 questions. What did this teach me? What skills can I develop from this? How does this prepare me for future opportunities? Let's make this concrete. Say you pitch an idea at work and it gets rejected. Instead of seeing it as proof that you're not good enough, reframe it. You now know more about what your audience wants. You've gained presentation experience. You've built courage by putting yourself out there. Suddenly, that failure becomes a stepping stone. This is exactly what Epictetus meant when he said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Every setback is raw material for growth, if you know how to use it. Start by carefully examining the circumstances every time you use the word failure in your life. This mindset becomes even more powerful if you learn to seek out challenging situations, if you search for opportunities where you once would have worried about failure. Most people arrange their lives to minimize the possibility of failure. They stick to what they know, take the safe route, and avoid putting themselves in situations where they might fall short. But every major breakthrough in history, every one, came from someone who was willing to fail repeatedly. The Wright brothers crashed countless times before achieving flight. Marie Curie conducted thousands of failed experiments before winning the Nobel Prize. James Dyson created over 5,000 failed prototypes before inventing the vacuum cleaner that made him world famous. What these innovators understood was that failure isn't just something to be tolerated. It's an essential part of the discovery process. Remember, the goal isn't to fail less, it's to learn more from each failure. When you truly internalize this, you'll find yourself taking bigger risks, pursuing bolder goals, and achieving more success than everyone who played it safe. This brings us to our final technique, one that ties everything together: mental goal setting. The Stoics understood something profound about human nature. We often suffer not from the facts of our challenges, but from how we frame them. Here's what I mean. When you're facing a big goal, your mind might jump straight to the end result. I need to completely change my life, or I have to master this skill immediately. This all-or-nothing thinking is a recipe for feeling overwhelmed and giving up. Instead, think like a Stoic. Break down that mountain into manageable hills. If you want to change careers, don't start with "get my dream job." Start with research one company today, or update my resume to version 1. Remember, progress isn't about giant leaps. It's about consistent, small steps. Try this approach. Take your big goal and break it into the smallest possible actions that you can't fail at. Actions you're sure you can do. For example, if you want to write a book, begin with the goal to write 1 paragraph. Everybody can write 4 lines. These micro goals might seem too easy, but that's exactly the point. Completing 100 micro goals, for example, adds up to one very big, real goal. If your goal is to become a legend, Epictetus did it. He went from slave to renowned philosopher through countless small choices and actions made day after day. Your transformation can be achieved in the same way. As we approach the end here, let's put it all together. I'll show you how these 5 techniques work through a real-world example. Meet Sarah, who just opened her dream coffee shop 6 months ago. After an exciting start, she's facing a serious challenge. Revenue is down 40% from her expectations, and she's wondering if she should close down. Let's walk through how Sarah can use each technique to make the right choice and then rebound. First, Sarah applies the control principle. She takes out her notebook and draws a line down the middle. On the control side, her shop's quality, her menu offerings, and the effort she puts into marketing. On the can't control side, rising coffee bean prices and ongoing road construction by the storefront. Immediately, she stops wasting energy worrying about the construction and starts focusing on what she can improve. Now comes self-diagnostic. Instead of telling herself, "I'm a failure" or "my dream is dead," Sarah speaks to herself as she would to her best friend. You're learning the hardest part of business ownership right now. Every successful cafe owner faces setbacks like this. For role models, Sarah researches local success stories. She reaches out to the owner of a nearby restaurant who becomes a mentor, sharing how they overcame similar challenges. Then comes reframing. Instead of seeing the 40% revenue drop as proof of failure, Sarah reframes it as valuable market feedback. Low afternoon sales mean she needs to innovate at that time of day. Customer complaints about limited seating lead her to order more chairs. Each problem becomes a clue for improvement. Finally, Sarah uses goal setting to break down her turnaround plan. Instead of the overwhelming goal of save the business, she creates smaller, achievable targets. This week, survey 50 customers about their preferences. Next week, test 3 new menu items. End of the month, redesign seating layout to add 6 more spots. This is the true power of these Stoic techniques. They don't just help you survive challenges. They show you how to use those challenges to become stronger than before. In this era of constant noise, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Every moment is bombarded with sounds and visuals, phones buzzing, screens flashing, the world demanding our attention. This relentless stimulation can make us feel like we're losing ourselves in a sea of endless chatter and digital noise. But what if I told you that the secret to gaining back control lies not in doing more, but in embracing less? The ancient Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, mastered this art thousands of years ago. They taught us that real strength doesn't come from reacting to every stimulus, but from choosing what to focus on and when to remain silent. You have power over your mind, not outside events, Marcus Aurelius wrote, reminding us that serenity begins with internal quiet. Today we're diving deep into why cutting back on mental clutter and unnecessary talk can transform your life. We'll explore 7 powerful benefits of thinking less, speaking less, and focusing more. These are not just life hacks, but profound changes that can lead to greater tranquility, deeper wisdom, and lasting success. And remember, if you appreciate what we're doing here, a simple free favor I'll ask is for you to hit that subscribe button. Don't skip any part of this video. Stick with me, and let's uncover how embracing the Stoic way can help you reclaim your peace of mind and power over your life. Benefit 1. Reduce stress and anxiety. Ever felt like your brain is just a whirlwind of worries and what-ifs? It's exhausting, right? But here's a thought from the Stoic playbook. Maybe the key to less stress isn't more thinking, it's less. The Stoics, like Epictetus, taught us that it's not the events themselves that disturb us, but our interpretation of these events. By focusing less on the noise and more on what we can control, we start to experience a real shift in our stress levels. When we actively decide to cut down on our mental clutter, something amazing happens. Our mind gets a break. Think about it. If your mind was a browser with dozens of tabs open, each one representing a worry or a thought, wouldn't closing some of them help it run better? That's essentially what we're doing when we choose to think less about things we can't control. We're closing the tabs. We're choosing not to engage with every fleeting thought that comes our way. And speaking of thinking less, it's about quality over. It's not about suppressing thoughts, but guiding them. It's like gardening. You keep the plants you want and pull out the weeds. If a thought doesn't serve you or is out of your control, why let it take up space? When we simplify our thought processes and focus only on actionable and positive thoughts, the weight on our shoulders lightens. This approach is rooted deeply in Stoicism, which emphasizes resilience and emotional control through rational thinking. By practicing these principles, you can train your mind to remain calm and collected in situations where you normally feel stressed or anxious. It's about responding to life's challenges with a level head and a clear mind, not with panic or despair. This doesn't just reduce stress, it transforms how we perceive challenges, turning them from insurmountable mountains into manageable hurdles. Benefit 2. Increase calmness and serenity. It's fascinating when you think about it. The moments when we're truly at peace are often the ones that are the quietest. This is something the Stoics understood deeply. They championed the idea that serenity comes from within, not from the chaos of the outside world. When we choose to engage less with the turmoil around us and focus more on our inner calm, the world doesn't seem as loud or as frantic. Calmness and serenity aren't just pleasant states of mind, they're powerful tools. By speaking less and listening more, we create space for peace to grow. It's like when you're on a bustling city street and suddenly step into a quiet library. Suddenly the world shifts, the pace changes, your breath deepens. This is the effect of embracing silence in our daily lives. When we stop feeling the need to fill every silence with words, we start to appreciate the richness of quiet. Stoicism teaches us that by controlling our reactions, we can maintain an inner calm regardless of external circumstances. Imagine being in a stressful situation. Say, a work deadline looms and the pressure mounts. Instead of getting caught up in a frenzy of stress and last-minute hustle, you take a step back. You breathe. You prioritize your tasks. You focus on one thing at a time. This is the Stoic method in action. Clearing the mind, simplifying the task, and approaching it with a calm focus. The benefits of this approach are immense. Not only does it allow us to handle stress more effectively, but it also enhances our overall well-being. When we're calm, we're better thinkers, listeners, and problem solvers. We're more present in our relationships, and we're better able to enjoy life's pleasures. Being serene doesn't mean being passive. It means being actively engaged in the pursuit of peace. By incorporating Stoic practices into our routine, such as meditation, reflection, and mindful breathing, we cultivate a tranquil mind. These practices help us filter out the noise and focus on what truly matters. They teach us to respond, not react. The more we practice, the more natural it becomes to remain undisturbed by the chaos of everyday life, and the deeper our well of serenity grows. On the matter of well of serenity, this doesn't just benefit us individually, it radiates outward, influencing our environment and the people around us in positive ways. Benefit 3. Enhance focus and productivity. Have you ever noticed how much more you get done when you're truly dialed into what you're doing? That sharp, crystal-clear focus that makes you feel like you can accomplish anything is not just a random occurrence. It's a state of mind that you can cultivate deliberately, especially if you take a leaf out of the Stoic playbook. The Stoics were big on focusing only on what's essential, cutting through the noise to concentrate on what truly matters. In our hyper-connected world, distractions are not just common, they're built into our everyday life. Phones ping, emails arrive incessantly, and social media feeds update constantly. But imagine if you could turn down that noise. Imagine organizing your day so that you could focus fully on each task before moving on to the next. This is the essence of Stoic focus, giving your whole attention to one thing at a time and doing it excellently. This kind of focus naturally leads to increased productivity. When you're not splitting your attention across multiple tasks, you're not just working harder, you're working smarter. You begin to notice details you might miss when multitasking. You solve problems more efficiently and come up with better solutions because your mind isn't flitting from one thing to another. The Stoics teach us that by eliminating unnecessary thoughts and actions, we free up our mental resources for important tasks. This doesn't mean ignoring your responsibilities, but rather prioritizing them in a way that allows you to deal with them one at a time, giving each your full energy. For instance, when tackling a project, you might break it down into manageable parts and set clear goals for each session. This methodical approach reduces overwhelm and makes large tasks feel more doable. Furthermore, practicing Stoicism helps us develop the resilience to resist distractions. By fostering inner discipline, we train ourselves to stay on task even when temptations arise. We become more aware of our impulses, to check our phone, to browse the web, and we learn to pause, recognize the distraction for what it is, and return to our task with renewed focus. Benefit 4. Boost self-control. Self-control is one of those superpowers that seems almost mythical, isn't it? It's like every time we manage to say no to that extra slice of cake, or yes to an early morning workout, we're tapping into something extraordinary. But what if I told you that self-control isn't just about resisting temptation? It's about much more. According to Stoic philosophy, it's about governing our reactions to the world around us in a way that aligns with our deepest values. Now, the Stoics were masters of self-discipline. They believed that the path to happiness was paved with virtue, and that self-control was a critical part of that. For them, it wasn't about denying themselves the joys of life, but choosing not to be dominated by passions that could lead to irrational decisions and ultimately unhappiness. This is why they practiced moderation in all things, from their emotions to their actions. In today's context, boosting self-control can mean the difference between getting swayed by every little distraction that comes your way, or staying steadfast on your path to personal and professional fulfillment. Think about how often we're pulled away from important tasks by less important but immediately gratifying distractions. Every time you choose to focus on your work instead of checking your phone, you're exercising self-control. This kind of discipline directly impacts our productivity and our ability to achieve our goals. When you strengthen your self-control, you're not just improving your ability to work without interruption, you're also enhancing your ability to think critically and make decisions that are not influenced by fleeting emotions. This is essential because emotions can be powerful drivers of action, but when left unchecked, they can lead us astray. Stoicism offers practical steps for boosting self-control. For example, practicing mindfulness can help us become more aware of our impulses, allowing us to respond rather than react by taking a moment to pause. When an impulse strikes, we give ourselves the space to choose a response that aligns with our goals and values. This might look like taking a few deep breaths when feeling overwhelmed, or stepping back to assess whether our next action will help or hinder our progress. Enhancing self-control is about cultivating a deeper sense of peace and satisfaction. As we become more adept at controlling our impulses and managing our responses, we find that we're not only more productive but also more content. We're less at the mercy of the ups and downs of our emotions, and more in tune with a stable, balanced way of living. Benefit 5. Communicate more effectively. Communication is like the glue that holds our social fabric together, isn't it? Whether it's chatting with a friend, discussing a project at work, or even negotiating a deal, how we express ourselves plays a pivotal role in the outcome. Now, Stoicism might not be the first thing that comes to mind when you think about communication skills, but it's incredibly relevant. The Stoics were big on the idea that it's not just what you say, but how you say it that matters. They believed in the power of being measured and thoughtful with words, which is essential for clear and impactful communication. So, how does embracing a Stoic approach help us communicate more effectively? First off, it teaches us the value of listening. Seneca, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers, famously said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen twice as much as we speak." This is golden advice in any conversation. Active listening helps us to really understand the other person's perspective, not just to wait for our turn to speak. It shows respect and allows for more constructive dialogues. When you truly listen, you respond more thoughtfully, which naturally enhances the quality of your interaction. Moreover, Stoicism encourages us to focus on clarity and brevity in our speech. The Stoics were not fans of rambling or speaking without purpose. They prized the ability to speak concisely and clearly, cutting through the noise and delivering messages in a way that could be easily understood. This doesn't mean being blunt or curt. Rather, it's about being considerate of the listener's time and attention. By choosing our words carefully and ensuring they truly convey what we mean, we reduce misunderstandings and make our communication more effective. There's also the Stoic belief in staying calm under pressure, which is a superpower in difficult conversations. Imagine you're in a heated discussion. The Stoic approach would be to maintain your composure and not let emotions get the best of you. This isn't about suppressing feelings, but about managing them constructively. By staying calm, you keep the conversation productive and open the door to resolutions rather than conflicts. It's about responding with reason rather than reacting with emotion. Incorporating these Stoic principles into your daily communication doesn't just improve how you talk or listen. It transforms your interactions into more meaningful and fulfilling exchanges. Whether it's at home, with friends, or in the workplace, effective communication fosters better relationships, smoother cooperation, and a deeper understanding of others. It's about making every word count and every interaction matter. Benefit 6. Build respect from others. Respect is one of those invaluable currencies in life that can't be bought but must be earned, often through the subtle art of how we carry ourselves and interact with others. Interestingly, Stoicism offers a powerful toolkit for earning this respect naturally. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius believed that respect comes from personal integrity and the ability to maintain composure, particularly in trying circumstances. Their teachings suggest that by cultivating a calm demeanor and thoughtful behavior, we naturally command respect from those around us. Imagine walking into a room where tensions are high, people are anxious, perhaps voices are raised. Now, picture yourself responding not with agitation, but with a composed and calm demeanor. This kind of response doesn't just diffuse tension, it also draws people's attention. It makes them think, there's someone who's in control. When you react with poise rather than panic, you demonstrate leadership qualities that naturally make people respect and trust your judgment. Moreover, Stoicism teaches the importance of consistency in our actions and words. Consistency is key to building trust, and trust is foundational to respect. When people know what to expect from you and see that you act according to your principles regardless of the situation, they begin to hold you in higher regard. It's about showing, not just telling. If you consistently apply Stoic principles such as fairness, patience, and self-control, people are more likely to respect you because they see these virtues in action. Then there's the aspect of speaking wisely. Stoics placed great emphasis on thinking before speaking, ensuring that when words are used they are meaningful and considered. In a world where everyone seems to be shouting to be heard, choosing your words carefully can actually make you stand out. When you do speak, if your words consistently reflect wisdom and insight, people are more inclined to listen and value your input. This approach not only builds respect, but also establishes you as a thoughtful leader or colleague. Lastly, respect through Stoicism is also about showing respect to others. It's a reciprocal dynamic. By demonstrating respect for others' ideas, feelings, and contributions, you foster a respectful environment. This mutual respect not only enhances personal relationships, but also creates a more positive and productive community, be it in a professional setting or personal life. Benefit 7. Live a more meaningful and simpler life. Isn't it curious how sometimes when you strip away the excess, what you're left with feels so much richer? Stoicism teaches us this very principle, that a simpler life isn't about having less, but about making room for more of what truly enriches us. It's about decluttering not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally. This philosophy encourages us to focus on our core values and priorities, trimming away the distractions that don't serve us. The Stoics, like Epictetus, believed that freedom comes from within, from our ability to control our responses to the world around us, rather than being controlled by it. By reducing our desires to the essentials and focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, our responses, we can lead lives of greater significance and tranquility. Imagine living each day with a clear sense of purpose, where your energies are spent on actions that are directly aligned with your deep-seated values. This isn't just liberating, it's deeply satisfying. In practical terms, adopting a simpler, more meaningful lifestyle means making conscious choices about where to allocate your time and energy. It involves asking yourself whether each activity or commitment is bringing you closer to your ideal life, or if it's merely filling time. This could mean opting to spend more time with family instead of attending yet another networking event, or choosing to read a book that enlightens you instead of mindlessly scrolling through social media. Moreover, living simply helps us cultivate gratitude for what we have. Stoicism doesn't teach us to forsake joy or pleasure. Rather, it teaches us to find joy in the pleasure that simplicity brings. There is profound joy in appreciating the ordinary moments, a quiet morning with a cup of coffee, the laughter of a loved one, the peace of a walk in nature. When we stop chasing after more things, more achievements, more engagements, we start experiencing more of life's genuine moments. This simplicity also extends to our interactions and how we handle challenges. Stoicism equips us to face life's complexities with a calm and steady hand. By simplifying our internal world, we are better able to manage the external chaos. Challenges become less daunting because our perspective has shifted. We focus on what is within our power to change, and we let go of the rest. Remember, the journey to embracing less isn't about achieving perfection overnight. It's a gradual process of adjustment and understanding, a path that you pave as you learn what less means to you. It's about finding your own balance between action and contemplation, speaking and silence, abundance and simplicity. Each step on this path can lead to profound changes in how you view and interact with the world. We all experience those moments when negative thoughts start creeping in, planting seeds of doubt and insecurity in our minds. The nagging voice that questions our abilities, worth, and decisions can be incredibly disruptive, impacting all aspects of our lives. If left unchecked, these mental patterns can spiral into anxiety, lack of motivation, and even depression. I know this struggle all too well. There were times when I felt consumed by negative self-talk and crippling self-doubt. It was a constant battle to silence the inner critic and regain my confidence. But then, I discovered the profound teachings of Stoicism. This ancient Greek philosophy provided me with powerful strategies to overcome these challenges. As Marcus Aurelius, the famous Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, wisely stated, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." This realization was transformative for me. I began to understand that my negative thoughts were not facts, but mere interpretations, and that I had the power to change them. So, what is the purpose of our journey today? It is to share the timeless Stoic principles that will help you deal effectively with negative thoughts and self-doubt. By the end of this exploration, you will be equipped with practical tools and insights to confront these inner battles head-on, reclaiming your inner peace and confidence. But this is not a passive experience. Stay engaged, reflect on these lessons, and actively apply them daily. True transformation occurs through knowledge, consistent action, and practice. With that, let us begin our exploration of the Stoic way of overcoming negative thoughts and self-doubt, guided by the wise words of Marcus Aurelius. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Understanding negative thoughts and self-doubt, we must first understand their nature and impact to effectively deal with negative thoughts and self-doubt. As Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, wisely stated, "It is not the things themselves that disturb people, but their judgments about these things." Negative thoughts are not inherently bad or wrong. Our minds create interpretations based on our experiences, beliefs, and conditioning. However, when left unchecked, these thoughts can spiral, distorting our perception of reality and undermining our sense of self-worth. For instance, consider a situation where you made a mistake at work. A negative thought might arise, such as, "I'm so incompetent, I'll never succeed in this job." This thought, however, is not a fact, but a judgment colored by self-doubt and harsh self-criticism. The impact of such negative self-talk can be far-reaching. It can affect our motivation, decision-making, and overall well-being. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Persistent negative thoughts can drain our energy, cloud our judgment, and even influence our physical health. Now, let's engage in a brief exercise. Take a moment to reflect on a recent negative thought or moment of self-doubt that you experienced. Please write it down or make a mental note of it. We will revisit this later in our exploration. Understanding the nature and potential consequences of negative thoughts enables us to approach them more objectively. We can recognize them as mere interpretations, not absolute truths, and work towards reframing them more constructively. Remember, as Epictetus taught, it is not the things themselves that disturb people, but their judgments about these things. With this awareness, we can break free from negative thoughts and self-doubt, paving the way for a more empowered and fulfilling life. Changing your perspective. One of the core principles of Stoicism is the idea that our thoughts shape our reality. Epictetus wisely stated, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them." This profound insight holds the key to overcoming negative thoughts and self-doubt. By changing our perspective, we can transform our experience. Let's revisit the example from the previous chapter, where you made a mistake at work and a negative thought arose, labeling you as incompetent and doubting your ability to succeed. This thought is not a fact, but a subjective interpretation colored by self-doubt and harsh self-criticism. The Stoics would encourage us to reframe this thought by adopting a more objective and rational perspective. Instead of criticizing ourselves, we could view the mistake as a learning opportunity to identify areas for improvement and growth. We could remind ourselves that mistakes are an inevitable part of the human experience, and that even the most accomplished individuals have faced setbacks and failures throughout their journeys. By reframing our perspective, we can transform a negative thought into a constructive one, shifting our mindset from self-doubt to self-compassion and resilience. But the Stoics didn't just preach theoretical ideas. They offered practical wisdom rooted in real-life examples. One such example comes from the life of Seneca, the famous Stoic philosopher and advisor to the Roman Emperor Nero. In one of his letters, Seneca recounts a story of a friend deeply troubled by a nightmarish vision he had experienced. Seneca advised his friend to focus on reality rather than being consumed by his imagination, saying, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." Like Seneca's friend, we often allow our negative thoughts and fears to spiral out of control, creating imagined scenarios that cause unnecessary suffering. By grounding ourselves in reality and adopting a more objective perspective, we can break free from the grip of these distorted thoughts. Here's a practical step-by-step guide to help you reframe a negative thought. Identify the negative thought or self-doubt. Write it down or make a mental note. Examine the evidence. Is this thought based on facts or assumptions? Are there alternative perspectives you still need to consider? Challenge the thought. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me or hurting me? Or, would I say this to a loved one in a similar situation? Reframe the thought. Replace the negative thought with a more constructive, rational interpretation that aligns with your values and goals. Repeat the reframed thought. Reinforce the new perspective by repeating it to yourself or writing it down. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. By actively practicing reframing our perspective, we can gradually rewire our thought patterns, cultivating a more resilient and empowered mindset. It takes consistent effort, but the rewards are immense. A greater sense of inner peace, self-confidence, and ability to navigate life's challenges with wisdom and grace. Focus on what you can control. One of the core tenets of Stoic philosophy is the principle of focusing our energy and attention on what we can control, rather than wasting time and energy agonizing over things beyond our influence. Epictetus famously stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This principle is compelling when dealing with negative thoughts and self-doubt. While we cannot always control the initial thoughts that arise, we can control how we respond to them. Do we allow them to spiral, fueling our self-doubt and anxiety, or do we consciously shift our focus to what is within our control? Let's consider a practical example. Imagine you've been passed over for a promotion at work, and feelings of self-doubt and negative thoughts begin to surface. I'm not good enough. I'll never advance in this company. I'm a failure. While it's understandable to feel disappointed, dwelling on these negative thoughts and ruminating over the situation will only breed more negativity and disempowerment. Instead, the Stoic approach would focus on what you can control: your reaction, your mindset, and your next steps. You might reframe the situation by acknowledging that while the outcome was not what you hoped for, it does not define your worth or capability. You can respond with resilience, using the experience as motivation to identify areas for growth and development. Additionally, you can focus on what is within your control, such as updating your skills, seeking feedback from mentors, or exploring new opportunities within or outside the company. This principle is exemplified in Epictetus' life. Born into slavery, he faced numerous challenges and adversities beyond his control. However, he focused his energy on what was within his power, his mindset, actions, and response to circumstances. In one of his famous teachings, Epictetus emphasized, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." By embracing this wisdom, we can avoid becoming consumed by negative thoughts and self-doubt from situations we cannot control. Instead, we can focus on our sphere of influence, taking constructive action and maintaining a positive, empowered mindset. To put this principle into practice, I invite you to pause and reflect on a current worry or concern causing you distress. Identify the aspects of the situation within your control and separate them from the factors beyond your influence. By consciously shifting your focus to what you can control, you'll find it easier to let go of negative thoughts and self-doubt surrounding the uncontrollable elements. This simple yet profound practice can cultivate inner peace, resilience, and empowerment in facing life's challenges. As Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By embracing this Stoic wisdom, you can reclaim your power and navigate life's ups and downs with grace and composure. Building resilience through Stoic practices. Thus far, we've discussed powerful Stoic principles for reframing negative thoughts, focusing on what's within our control, and cultivating an empowered mindset. However, the Stoics understood that lasting inner transformation requires more than intellectual understanding. It demands consistent practice and the cultivation of specific mental habits. One such practice is the Stoic concept of negative visualization, which may seem counterintuitive at first glance. As Epictetus wisely stated, "No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer you that there must be time." Negative visualization involves contemplating potential adverse scenarios or misfortunes that could befall us. It may sound like a recipe for pessimism, but the Stoics saw it as a tool to cultivate gratitude, resilience, and a deeper appreciation for the present moment. By mentally preparing for challenges and setbacks, we become less shocked and overwhelmed when they inevitably occur. Additionally, it helps us cherish the good things rather than take them for granted. Let's engage in a brief exercise to experience the power of this practice. Close your eyes and imagine losing something truly valuable to you, a possession, a relationship, or even your health. Allow yourself to feel the weight of that potential loss. Fully notice how this exercise can heighten your gratitude for what you currently have and instill a sense of humble appreciation for the temporary nature of all things. The Stoics understood that by regularly practicing negative visualization, we could develop a kind of emotional immunity, a resilience that allows us to weather life's storms with poise and grace. Marcus Aurelius, the mighty Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, embodied this principle. Despite facing numerous personal losses and challenges, including the untimely deaths of several children and a devastating plague that ravaged his empire, Marcus Aurelius maintained his composure. He continued to govern with wisdom and compassion. He wrote in his famous Meditations, "How ridiculous and unrealistic is the man who is astonished at anything that happens in life." By embracing the Stoic practice of negative visualization, Marcus Aurelius cultivated a profound sense of resilience and acceptance, allowing him to navigate even the most harrowing circumstances with grace and poise. As we continue our journey toward overcoming negative thoughts and self-doubt, practices like negative visualization can serve as powerful tools to fortify our mental and emotional resilience. By regularly reminding ourselves of the impermanence of all things and mentally preparing for potential adversity, we can cultivate a sense of humble gratitude and develop the inner strength to face life's challenges with courage and wisdom. Remember, as Epictetus taught, no great thing is created suddenly. Building resilience is a gradual process that requires consistent practice and dedication. But by embracing Stoic practices, we can steadily cultivate the inner resources to overcome negative thoughts, self-doubt, and any obstacles that may arise. Surrounding yourself with positivity, while the Stoic teachings emphasize cultivating inner resilience and self-mastery, the ancient philosophers recognized the profound impact our social environment has on our mental and emotional well-being. As Epictetus wisely advised, the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. The people we surround ourselves with can either fuel our negative thought patterns and self-doubt, or inspire us to rise above them. Their words, attitudes, and energy can drag us down or elevate us to new heights of confidence and self-assurance. Think about the individuals in your life who consistently radiate positivity, encouragement, and belief in your potential. Perhaps it's a close friend, a mentor, or a family member who has consistently supported and uplifted you, even during your darkest moments of self-doubt. Now, contrast that with the people in your life who seem to perpetuate your negative thought patterns. They might be quick to criticize, doubt your abilities, or project their insecurities onto you. The Stoics understood that limiting exposure to negative influences and intentionally cultivating uplifting relationships could profoundly impact our mental and emotional state. Consider the example of Monkey D. Luffy from the anime One Piece. Luffy's journey to becoming the Pirate King is significantly influenced by the positive and supportive friends he surrounds himself with. Early in his quest, Luffy gathers a diverse crew of individuals who believe in his dream and support him through every challenge and setback. Characters like Zoro, Nami, Sanji, and Chopper contribute their strengths and unwavering belief in Luffy, encouraging him to persevere despite overwhelming odds. Their support and friendship help Luffy stay resilient and inspire each other to grow and reach their potential. By intentionally curating his crew, Luffy creates an environment that nurtures confidence, resilience, and determination, ultimately propelling him toward his dream of finding the One Piece and becoming the Pirate King. On the other hand, imagine the path of someone who remains entrenched in a toxic social environment. Constantly surrounded by negativity, criticism, and doubt, it becomes increasingly challenging for them to break free from negative thoughts and self-doubt when those patterns are continuously reinforced by their social influences. So, how can we apply this Stoic wisdom to our own lives? Here are some practical tips. Evaluate your current social circle. Identify the individuals who uplift and encourage you, as well as those who perpetuate negative thought patterns. Gradually limit exposure to toxic influences while nurturing and prioritizing relationships with positive, supportive people. Seek out communities, groups, or mentors aligned with your values and goals, as they can provide a powerful source of inspiration and motivation. Be mindful of the energy you bring to your relationships. Strive to positively influence others, just as you seek positivity from them. Remember, as Epictetus taught, the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. By intentionally surrounding ourselves with positive influences, we create an environment conducive to overcoming negative thoughts and self-doubt and embracing our full potential. It's a journey that requires conscious effort and discernment, but the rewards are invaluable. A greater sense of confidence, resilience, and the ability to navigate life's challenges with the support and encouragement of those who believe in us. Gratitude and contentment. At the core of Stoic philosophy lies a profound understanding of the power of gratitude and contentment. These principles serve as potent antidotes to the negative thought patterns and self-doubt that can quickly consume us in our modern, fast-paced lives. As Marcus Aurelius eloquently stated, "Do not indulge in dreams of having what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess, and then thankfully remember how you would crave for them if they were not yours." These words encapsulate the essence of gratitude, the practice of actively appreciating and savoring the blessings we already possess, rather than constantly yearning for more. By cultivating gratitude, we shift our focus away from perceived deficiencies and scarcity and instead embrace the abundance surrounding us. Imagine the weight lifted from your shoulders if you genuinely appreciate and feel grateful for all the positive aspects of your life, rather than fixating on what you lack or wish you had. The Stoics understood that this shift in perspective could profoundly impact our mental and emotional well-being. Seneca, another prominent Stoic philosopher, echoed this sentiment when he wrote, "It is in no man's power to have whatever he wants, but he has it in his power not to wish for what he hasn't got, and cheerfully make the most of the things that do come his way." These words remind us that true contentment does not come from constantly acquiring more, but from cultivating a sense of sufficiency and appreciating what we already have. By embracing this mindset, we can break free from the endless desire and dissatisfaction that fuel so much of our negative self-talk and self-doubt. To put this into practice, let's engage in a brief gratitude exercise. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Now, consider 3 aspects of your life that you are truly grateful for. Perhaps your health, a loving relationship, or a cherished memory. Allow yourself to fully savor and appreciate these blessings, feeling the warmth of gratitude spread through your being. As you open your eyes, notice the subtle shift in your perspective. Do you feel lighter, more present, and less burdened by negative thoughts or self-doubt? This is the transformative power of gratitude and contentment. Acceptance and letting go. Epictetus wisely advised, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will go on well." These words highlight a profound truth. Much of our suffering and negative thought patterns stem from our resistance to how things are and our attachment to how we believe they should be. By accepting reality as it unfolds, without judgment or resistance, we can cultivate a sense of inner peace and freedom from negative thoughts and self-doubt. Consider the example of a student who has worked tirelessly to prepare for a critical exam, only to receive a disappointing result. Suppose they cling to the expectation of a different outcome. In that case, they will likely spiral into a cycle of negative self-talk, doubt, and rumination. However, if they embrace the Stoic principle of acceptance, they can acknowledge the reality of the situation without judgment or self-criticism. They can redirect their energy toward constructive next steps rather than dwelling on what cannot be changed. This principle was embodied by Marcus Aurelius, who faced numerous challenges and adversities during his reign as Roman emperor. In his famous Meditations, he wrote, "How ridiculous and strange to be surprised at anything which happens in life. These words reflect a deep understanding of the impermanence and unpredictability of life, a recognition that resistance and clinging to expectations only breeds suffering. By accepting the ebb and flow of circumstances with equanimity, Marcus Aurelius navigated even the most tumultuous times with grace and wisdom. The Stoics understood that true freedom lies in letting go of our resistance and accepting what is, rather than constantly battling against reality. As Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, nothing happens to anybody which he is not fitted by nature to bear. Consider a situation you have resisted or struggled to accept. To put this principle into practice, take a few deep breaths and consciously let go of your resistance, embracing the reality of the situation without judgment or self-criticism. Notice how this simple acceptance can alleviate the burden of negative thoughts and self-doubt. By releasing the need to control or change the uncontrollable, you create space for inner peace, clarity, and the ability to respond with wisdom and equanimity. By embracing the Stoic practices of acceptance and letting go, we can cultivate the inner freedom to navigate life's challenges with resilience, grace, and a profound sense of inner peace. Self-reflection and growth. While the Stoic teachings provide potent tools for dealing with negative thoughts and self-doubt in the present moment, these ancient philosophers understood that lasting transformation requires a more profound commitment to self-reflection and personal growth. As Epictetus wisely advised, when you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your failings. He will grow better for being reproved, and you better yourself by this wholesome exercise. These words highlight the profound value of self-reflection, the practice of turning our gaze inward, examining our thoughts, beliefs, and actions with honesty and courage. Through this process, we can identify areas for growth, confront our blind spots, and cultivate the self-awareness necessary for lasting personal development. Imagine for a moment a scenario where you made a mistake or experienced a setback that triggered a wave of negative self-talk and self-doubt. Instead of wallowing in these thoughts or projecting blame onto external factors, the Stoic approach would be to engage in radical self-reflection. Ask yourself probing questions. What role did my own actions or assumptions play in this outcome? What lessons can I learn from this experience? How can I approach similar situations with greater wisdom and resilience in the future? By adopting this mindset of self-reflection and growth, we shift our perspective from self-criticism and stagnation to empowerment and continuous improvement. The Stoics understood that personal growth is not a linear journey, but a cyclical process of self-reflection, learning, and implementation. It requires a willingness to confront our shortcomings and embrace challenges as opportunities for growth, rather than sources of self-doubt and negativity. One powerful example of this principle in action is the life story of Epictetus himself. Born into slavery and subjected to numerous hardships, Epictetus could have easily succumbed to bitterness, resentment, and self-pity. However, he chose a path of radical self-reflection and personal growth. Through his unwavering commitment to examining his thoughts, beliefs, and actions, Epictetus developed a profound understanding of the human condition and the path to inner freedom. His teachings have resonated for centuries and serve as a testament to the transformative power of self-reflection and growth. To cultivate this practice in your life, start by setting aside dedicated time for self-reflection, whether through journaling, meditation, or simply creating space for quiet contemplation. During these moments, ask yourself probing questions about your thoughts, beliefs, and actions, and approach your self-inquiry with curiosity and compassion. When you inevitably encounter moments of failure, setbacks, or negative self-talk, use them as opportunities for growth. Resist the urge to indulge in self-criticism or blame. Instead, turn your attention inward. Explore the lessons to be learned, the blind spots to be illuminated, and the steps to approach similar situations with greater wisdom and resilience. Remember, as Epictetus taught, seek not the good in external things, seek it in yourselves. By committing to the Stoic practice of self-reflection and growth, you unlock the key to overcoming negative thoughts and self-doubt from the inside out. It is a journey that requires courage, honesty, and a willingness to confront your limitations with humility, but the rewards are immeasurable. A more profound sense of self-awareness, resilience, and the ability to navigate life's challenges with wisdom and grace. Stoic quotes about negative thoughts and self-doubt. The ancient Stoic philosophers left us a treasure trove of wisdom for dealing with negative thoughts and self-doubt. Let's explore some of their most powerful insights. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Marcus Aurelius. Our thoughts shape our reality. By changing our thoughts, we can change our experience of life. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Marcus Aurelius. Our suffering comes not from external events, but from our judgments about them, which we can change. How ridiculous and unrealistic is the man who is astonished at anything that happens in life. Marcus Aurelius. There is no need to be shocked or disturbed by life's inevitable challenges and setbacks. Acceptance is key. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. Our persistent thoughts profoundly influence our state of being. Negative thoughts breed negativity. It is not the things themselves that disturb people, but their judgments about these things. Epictetus. Events themselves are neutral. Our interpretations cause us distress or inner peace. There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. Epictetus. Happiness comes from focusing our energy on what we can control, not the uncontrollable. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Epictetus. We cannot always control circumstances, but we can control our responses to them. Men are disturbed, not by things, but by the view which they take of them. Epictetus. Our perspective, not external events, is the true source of our inner turmoil or peace. Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will go on well. Epictetus. Acceptance, not resistance, is the path to tranquility. We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. Seneca. Our pessimistic forecasts often cause more suffering than reality itself. Nothing happens to anybody which he is not fitted by nature to bear. Marcus Aurelius. We have the innate resilience to withstand whatever life brings our way. Remove the judgment, and you have removed the thought, I am hurt, and the hurt itself is gone. Marcus Aurelius. It is our judgments that create our suffering, not circumstances themselves. Until we have begun to go without them, we fail to realize how unnecessary many things are. We've been using them not because we needed them, but because we had them. Seneca. These words encapsulate the essence of the Stoic approach, the recognition that true freedom and fulfillment arise not from external circumstances or possessions, but from the cultivation of our inner resources, resilience, and alignment with our deepest values. Internalizing these Stoic teachings allows us to rewire our minds, question our negative thought patterns, and cultivate a more resilient, empowered mindset. The path to overcoming self-doubt lies in changing our perspectives and reactions, not controlling the uncontrollable. Remember, the journey toward overcoming negative thoughts and self-doubt is not a destination, but a continuous practice, a lifelong commitment to personal growth, self-reflection, and the pursuit of a life well lived. In a world where almost everything is just a click away from being public knowledge, what if I told you that the most empowering thing you could do is keep a secret, not just any secret, but the personal milestones, the quiet victories that are yours and yours alone. We often forget that before the digital age, privacy was a cherished treasure. Stoicism teaches us the value of the inner self, the part of us that doesn't need applause to thrive. It's about understanding that some of the most significant battles we face are fought in the silence of our minds, and not every one of those needs to be a headline in our social feeds. As we dive into today's discussion, think about the last time you chose not to share something on social media. How did it feel? Liberating? A little rebellious, maybe? That's because you exercised a choice that goes against the grain of our share everything culture. You tapped into a story principle that's about as old as philosophy itself. The notion that not everything we do or think needs validation from the outside world. Now, if you appreciate what we're exploring here, a simple free favor you can do is hit the subscribe button. Today we're going to unpack why choosing what to share and what to keep to ourselves isn't just an act of privacy, it's an act of power. By the end of our talk, you might just see your quiet, unshed moments as the gold they truly are. So, let's get into it. When we talk about our personal values, we're diving into some of the most intimate aspects of who we are. These aren't just the standards we hold for our actions. They're the core beliefs that dictate every decision, every reaction, and how we perceive the world around us. Now, consider for a moment how value guide us through the chaos of everyday life. Stoicism teaches that it's not the events themselves, but our responses to them that shape our lives. Our values are our chosen responses, the paths we tread even when storms rage. They anchor us, giving us resilience against what we can't control. For example, if one of your core values is integrity, this will influence how you react when faced with a challenging decision at work or in personal relationships. It becomes your inner compass. During this, no matter the external pressures, you remain true to your course. But how do we identify these core values? It's one thing to list desirable qualities like courage, honesty, or loyalty, but understanding what truly resonates with our deepest self requires inner honesty. Understanding what truly resonates with our deepest self requires inner honesty. This is where Stoic exercises can be incredibly beneficial. They encourage us to reflect on our daily experiences and evaluate our reactions. Did I act out of fear or with courage? Was I honest even when it was difficult? These reflections help us see not just who we are, but who we aspire to be, allowing us to line our actions with our true nature. Stoicism doesn't just stop at knowing your value. It pushes for consistency between your value and your actions. This alignment is crucial because it's easy to claim a value. It's much harder to live it out, especially when tested. Stoics propose exercises like the evening reflection, where you review your day's actions and assess whether they were in line with your values. This practice doesn't just reinforce good behaviors. It also helps root out the inconsistencies, giving us a chance to course correct. Now, living in line with your values is undoubtedly rewarding, but it's not without its challenges. The modern world constantly bombards us with messages that can cloud our judgment or lead us astray. Social media, peer pressure, and even advertising can subtly shift our focus from our values to more superficial metrics of success, like wealth, fame, or physical appearance. Stoicism teaches us to recognize these external influences and separate them from our internal dialogue, which is essential in maintaining our path and not getting lost in others' expectations. Why is this alignment so vital? Because it ultimately leads to a more fulfilling and peaceful life. When our actions don't match our values, we feel it deep down, a kind of moral dissonance that can lead to stress, unhappiness, and even depression. But when they do align, there's a profound sense of peace and satisfaction that comes from knowing you are living true to yourself, regardless of external circumstances. This journey towards understanding and living your values isn't just about personal satisfaction, though it impacts everyone around you. When you live by your values consistently, you become a beacon for others. You inspire those who might still be searching for their path, and you offer a model of ingratitude and strength in a world that often values the opposite. Diving deep into what really makes us tick isn't just an exercise for philosophers or the introspective few, it's something that can benefit us all. Think about it like this. Identifying your core values is akin to mapping out the territory of your soul. It's about understanding the landscape of your inner world, which in turn shapes how you navigate the external world. And while it might sound like a hefty task, it's one that Stoicism, with its focus on self-awareness and wisdom, tackles head-on. Now, the process of figuring out these core values isn't about picking from a pre-made list. It's much more personal and profound than that. It involves a deep and honest look at what drives your decisions and actions at a fundamental level. What principles make you feel most alive? Which values, when you act on them, make you feel like you're being most true to yourself? These aren't questions that can be answered quickly. They require reflection, perhaps through journaling or meditation, both practices highly regarded in Stoic philosophy for their power to reveal our true natures. Stoicism teaches us that wisdom comes from within, from understanding our own virtues and how they connect to the universal virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation. By identifying our core values, we're not just making a list, we're committing to a life that seeks to harmonize our actions with these virtues. For example, if you value honesty, then living truthfully in all your dealings is a way to practice the Stoic virtue of justice, aligning your personal values with a broader ethical framework. Furthermore, it's important to realize that our values can evolve as we grow and experience more of life. What we hold important may shift. This is where Stoicism offers another valuable tool. The practice of constant Stoics advocate for regular periods of reflection to reassess our values and ensure they still represent who we are and who we want to be. This isn't about inconsistency, it's about growth. As you face new challenges or learn from past experiences, your understanding of what matters most can deepen, leading to a more nuanced appreciation of your values. And let's talk about how these values play out in the real world. Identifying your core values has practical benefits that extend far beyond personal satisfaction. It affects your relationships, career choices, and even day-to-day decisions. When you know your core values, you can choose paths that align with your principles, leading to greater fulfillment and less regret. You'll be less likely to find yourself in situations that compromise your integrity or leave you feeling out of place. So, how can you start identifying these core values? Begin by considering times when you felt particularly full or right about a decision. What was driving that feeling? Was it a commitment to fairness, a desire to be creative, a need to challenge yourself, or perhaps a commitment to loyalty? Also, consider the opposite. Situations that made you deeply uncomfortable are just as telling. Often they signal a violation of a core value. It might seem like a buzzword at times, but light management, matching what we do with what we believe, is one of those pivotal ingredients in a life that feels genuinely fulfilling and authentic. When our actions and our values are in sync, there's a kind of harmony that permeates everything we do, from the way we interact with others to the personal goals we set and strive to achieve. In the realm of Stoicism, this line is not just recommended, it's considered essential to living a virtuous life, one that is consistent and true to oneself. So why does this alignment matter so much? Think about the internal conflict that arises when we act in ways that contradict our core beliefs. It's uncomfortable, isn't it? There's a discord, a nagging sense of being out of step with ourselves. Stoicism teaches us that peace of mind comes from living a unified life, a life where our thoughts, actions, and values are all pulling in the same direction. The ancient Stoics believed that dissonance between these elements leads to turmoil within the soul, while alignment brings tranquility. Consider the Stoic idea of living according to nature, your own nature and the nature of the world. This means understanding who you are and what you stand for, and then acting in ways that are congruent with that understanding. When there is a clear line between your beliefs and your actions, decision-making becomes more straightforward. Stress levels drop and confidence grows because you are no longer at war with yourself. You're not pretending to be someone else or living by someone else's rules. You're being fundamentally true to your own values and principles. This alignment also impacts how we relate to others and navigate the world. When you live in alignment with your values, people know what you stand for. This transparency builds trust and respect, qualities that are crucial in both personal and professional relationships. It also makes you a stable and predictable partner, friend, or leader, not murkier or inconsistent, but reliable and steadfast. Moreover, living in alignment attracts others with similar values, creating a support network of like-minded individuals who reinforce and share your commitment to certain principles. The process of achieving and maintaining alignment isn't always easy, particularly in a society that often values expediency over it. It requires a constant process of self-examination and adjustment. Reminiscent of the Stoic practice of the evening review, at the end of each day, Stoics reflect on the actions of the day, asking yourself, did my actions today reflect my core values? Where did I fall short, and how can I improve tomorrow? This practice isn't about self-reflection, self-excellence, but about self-improvement and realigning our daily actions with our deeper value. Moreover, active life offers a deeper sense of satisfaction with life. There's a profound joy and peace that comes from knowing you're living in a way that's true to your deepest beliefs. This isn't the fleeting happiness that comes from external achievements or the approval of others, but a dailable, enduring contentment that sustains through life's ups and downs. It's the kind of happiness that Stoics aim for, a happiness based on virtue and self-consistency. In a broader sense, living with alignment helps us navigate life's challenges with greater resilience. When we face tough choices or adversity, being anchored in our values provides a guidepost for action that feels right, even when the right action is difficult. It enables us to act with courage and integrity because we're not just reacting to external circumstances. We're responding in a way that's consistent with our deepest self. Sticking to your core values sounds straightforward when you're in a calm, controlled environment, right? But let's face it, life isn't a controlled environment. Life is unpredictable, messy, and full of temptations and pressures that can easily veer us off course. This is where the real challenge comes in, maintaining that limit between what we believe and how we act when the world around us seems intent on touching those beliefs at every turn. One of the primary hurdles we face in staying aligned is the external pressure to conform, whether it's from our social circles, workplace, or society at large. There's often a strong push to fit in. This can mean adopting behaviors or making choices that don't match up with our internal compass. The Stoics were well aware of this challenge and emphasized the importance of fortitude and personal integrity in the face of societal norms. They advocated for a kind of moral courage, the courage to stand firm in your convictions, even when doing so might make you stand out or swim against the current. Another significant challenge is the complexity of modern life. We are bombarded with choices and information, and often the right path isn't clear. It can be tough to discern which actions lie with our values, especially when those values might conflict with each other, or when the consequences of our choices are uncertain. Stoicism offers a tool here as well, the practice of reflection and contemplation. By taking the time to reflect on our decisions and their alignment with our values, we can navigate complex situations more effectively. This reflection also involves being honest with ourselves about our mindset and the potential impacts of our actions, ensuring that our choices are not only intentional, but also informed. Additionally, there's the issue of short-term dishonor clashing with long-term values. In moments of weakness or stress, it's all too easy to give in to impulses that might lead us away from our principles. Here, the Stoic practice of self-discipline and control over one's passions comes into play. Stoics believe that by mastering our impulses, we can ensure that our actions remain in line with our deeper values, rather than being derailed by feeling desire. Maintaining alignment requires continuous effort and vigilance. It's not a set-it-and-forget-it kind of deal. Our environments change, we evolve, and our understanding of our values can deepen over time. This dynamic nature of life means that staying aligned is an ongoing process of adjustment and realignment. It requires us to be perpetually mindful and proactive about our choices, a concept that is at the very heart of Stoic philosophy. Sometimes the challenge also comes from within, in the form of self-doubt or lack of self-awareness. It's possible to be sincere in our intent to live according to our values, but misguided in our execution. This might be due to blind spots in our self-awareness or misunderstandings about what our values truly imply for our behavior. Stoicism encourages us to seek wisdom continually, not just about the world, but also about ourselves. This includes recognizing and confronting our limitations and biases, and being open to learning and growth. In facing these challenges, it's crucial not to be too hard on ourselves when we falter. The Stoic path isn't about achieving perfection, but striving toward becoming better versions of ourselves. Each challenge offers a new opportunity to strengthen our commitment to our values and to practice the virtues that Stoics hold dear: wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. When it comes to keeping our actions in sync with our values, it's often easier said than done, right? Even with the best intentions, the hectic pace of daily life can sometimes scatter our focus. Luckily, there are some practical, down-to-earth strategies we can adopt to help ensure we stay on track. These substances are acting on them becomes second nature. First up, let's talk about setting clear, actionable goals that reflect our core values. It's like giving yourself a roadmap where each milestone is aligned with your deeper beliefs. Say one of your values is compassion. You might set a goal to volunteer a certain number of hours each month. This isn't just about doing good deeds. It's about MBSing into your life in a tangible way. Similarly, if integrity is a key value for you, your goals might include always being transparent in your communications at work, even when the truth is uncomfortable. Another powerful strategy is to create daily rituals that reinforce your values. The Stoics were big on routines that help them embody their philosophy. For instance, you might start your day with a few minutes of reflection on what your values are and how you intend to demonstrate them throughout the day. This could be as simple as a morning meditation or journaling session where you set your intentions to be patient, frugal, or whatever else aligns with your values. Reflection is key here, and it's something the Stoics practiced diligently. They believed in the importance of examining one's actions at the end of each day to see if they lived up to their ideals. You can adopt this practice by taking time each evening to review your day. What did you do that was in line with your values? Where did you fall short, and how can you improve tomorrow? This isn't about beating yourself up over mistakes, but about acknowledging where you can do better. Accountability partners can also play a crucial role in maintaining alignment. Share your goals and how they relate to your values with a friend or a mentor who can help keep you honest. Just like a workout buddy can motivate you to hit the gym, an accountability partner can help keep your actions aligned with your values. They can offer a fresh perspective when you're facing challenges and celebrity with you when you successfully embody your values. Incorporating visual reminders of your values into your environment can also be incredibly effective. This could be as simple as posting quotes that resonate with your values around your workspace or home. Each time you see these reminders, they can serve as a prompt to act in ways that reflect your deepest beliefs. For instance, a Stoic might keep a symbol that represents tranquility, an essential aspect of Stoic calm in their living space, to continually remind them of their commitment to maintaining inner peace despite external chaos. Practicing mindfulness can enhance your ability to live according to your values. Mindfulness helps you become more aware of your thoughts and actions in the moment, allowing you to make choices that are more deliberate and aligned. When you're mindful, you're not operating on autopilot. Instead, you're fully present and making conscious decisions that reflect your values, which is a core aspect of Stoic living. Learning to confidently say no is like developing a superpower in today's yes-centric world. It's not just about turning down invitations or requests. It's a profound act of self-respect and a crucial component of living a life aligned with your values. Think of it this way. Every time you say no to something that doesn't align with your core beliefs, you're actually saying yes to your own priorities, health, and well-being. But saying no isn't always easy. We're often conditioned to avoid it for fear of seeming rude, unhelpful, or selfish. Hence, Stoicism offers a counter to this mindset by emphasizing the virtue of wisdom, knowing when different choices serve our higher goals. When you say no to demands that clash with your values, you're actually exercising practical wisdom. You're making a deliberate choice to honor your commitments to yourself and your vision of the good life. One effective strategy to say no with confidence is to be clear about your reasons, both to yourself and to others. When you understand and can articulate why something doesn't align with your values, it becomes much easier to communicate that decision succinctly. For example, if you value personal growth and someone incites you to a project that you know will lead nowhere, explaining your focus on meaningful projects can help both you and the other party understand your refusal. Another key aspect is to practice assertiveness. Being assertive doesn't mean being regressive. It's about being firm and straightforward in your communication. It's perfectly okay to say, "I appreciate your thinking of me, but I can't commit to this right now." Or, "This isn't right for me, but thank you for the offer." These responses show respect for both yourself and the person making the request, maintaining the relationship while still standing your ground. It's also important to normalize saying no for yourself. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Start with small things, like declining an extra responsibility at work when your plate is already full, or saying no to a social event when you need time to recharge. As you grow more accustomed to pushing back against smaller demands, you'll build the confidence to say no in more significant, higgleless stake situations. Moreover, remember that saying no can sometimes lead to feelings of guilt or worry about missing out. Here, Stoicism teaches us to focus on our inner state and not be troubled by external judgments or fears. Reflect on the tranquility and freedom that come from making decisions aligned with your personal philosophy, rather than decisions driven by anxiety or a desire for approval. Consider the long-term benefits of saying no. Each time you make a choice that aligns with your values, you reinforce your identity and integrity. This not only builds your confidence, but also strengthens your reputation as someone who is clear, reliable, and principled. Over time, people come to respect your choices and your willingness to stick to your beliefs, which, in itself, can reduce the pressure to conform. Ever felt tongue-tied in a conversation, or found yourself struggling to connect with others? You're not alone. It's a challenge most of us face at some point, whether it's at a social event, a business meeting, or even a casual chat with a friend. The pressure to communicate effectively can sometimes leave us doubting ourselves. But what if I told you there's an ancient philosophy that can help you approach every conversation with calm, confidence, and clarity? It's a Friday evening and you find yourself at a lively party, drink in hand, scanning the room. There are groups of people chatting, laughing, and connecting, but you're rooted in place, overthinking your next move. What if I say something stupid? What if they think I'm boring? You adjust your posture, take a breath, and consider approaching someone, but the hesitation is overwhelming. Moments like these aren't rare. In fact, they're part of the human experience. Social interactions, something that seems so simple, often come with a wave of self-doubt, a fear of judgment, and an annoying question: am I good enough? We live in a world that thrives on connection, at work, in friendships, and even in chance encounters. How we communicate shapes our relationships and opportunities, but talking to others, truly connecting, can feel like a tightrope walk. There's a delicate balance between saying too little and oversharing, between listening and speaking, between fear and confidence. This is where the timeless wisdom of Stoicism comes in. The Stoics, ancient philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, taught us how to master ourselves in the face of life's challenges. And while they may not have been giving TED Talks or attending networking events, their principles are surprisingly relevant to modern conversation. The Stoics believed that clarity, purpose, and composure weren't just traits, they were skills we could cultivate. In this video, we're going to uncover 5 Stoic techniques that can transform the way you talk to anyone, from strangers to lifelong friends. These techniques are not fake or magic tricks. They're tools for genuine connection. Are you ready to take that first step? Before we begin, please subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss out on more amazing videos like this. Let's get started. Say more with fewer words. We often think confidence is about saying more, filling silences, explaining every detail, and keeping the conversation alive. But true confidence lies in intention. Speaking with clarity and brevity not only makes you more impactful, but also more memorable. Marcus Aurelius captured this perfectly when he wrote, "Let your words be few but well chosen." There's pressure to over-explain, to avoid being judged or even ignored. But when we ramble, we risk burying the essence of what we truly want to say. Confidence means trusting that your message, in its simplest form, will resonate with everyone. Let's say you're pitching an idea in a team meeting. You begin with, "So, I've been working on this concept for a while now, and I think it could be really effective because it saves time, improves our workflow, and adds value to the customer experience. But there's also the factor of how we'll implement it, which I'll explain later." By the time you finish, half the room is distracted, and your key point has been lost. Now, imagine starting with this project can save 25% of our time while enhancing customer satisfaction. Here's how we can implement it. That's it. Direct and impactful. You've given your audience a reason to pay attention and opened the door for meaningful dialogue. This approach reflects the Stoic value of intentionality. Marcus Aurelius reminds us to avoid unnecessary actions. Words, just like actions, should serve a purpose. When you strip away the noise and focus on the core message, you show that you respect both your listeners' time and your own confidence. The next time you speak, pause and ask yourself, what is the one thing I want them to remember? Practice condensing your thoughts into a single, impactful sentence. Over time, this habit will sharpen not just your communication, but your sense of self-assurance. Saying more with just a few words is a reflection of your inner confidence, rooted in Stoic wisdom. Let go of the idea that you have to win. For many of us, conversations feel like a subtle tug of war. The urge to prove a point, correct someone, or emerge as the winner can take over without us even realizing it. The first thing you have to come to terms with is that conversations are not battles. They're bridges, opportunities to connect, learn, and exchange ideas. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, reminds us of a powerful truth. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The same applies to conversations. You can't control the opinions or reactions of others, but you can control your attitude. The moment you let go of the need to win, the tension melts away and confidence takes its place. Take a moment to think about it. How often do arguments or debates spiral out of control because both people are focused on being right? Whether it's a heated disagreement with a friend or a discussion at work, the instinct to defend your stance can block the possibility of genuine connection. Winning may feel gratifying in the moment, but it often comes at the cost of trust and understanding. Let's take, for example, a disagreement with a close friend about weekend plans. They want to go hiking, you prefer a more relaxed day indoors. As the discussion drags on, you find yourself interrupting, insisting, "But you're not even thinking about how tired I've been lately." Before long, the conversation escalates, leaving both of you frustrated. Now, consider a Stoic approach. Instead of interrupting, you pause. You listen fully to their point of view. You acknowledge their perspective by saying, "I can see how much you've been looking forward to hiking. It's important to you, and I get that." When it's your turn, you calmly share, "I've been feeling pretty drained lately, and I think I'd enjoy something quieter this time." This shift in tone transforms the interaction. By focusing on understanding over asserting control, you create space for a solution that respects both of your needs, perhaps splitting the day between a short hike and some downtime. Letting go of the need to win embodies one of Stoicism's core teachings. the dichotomy of control. You can't dictate how others respond, but you can control your own words and actions. Epictetus's wisdom reminds us that true strength comes not from dominating a conversation, but from approaching it with patience and clarity. The next time you feel the urge to win a discussion, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what's my goal here? Am I trying to connect, or am I trying to control? Confidence isn't about always being right. It's about remaining calm, composed, and open-minded. When you prioritize understanding over victory, you unlock the ability to navigate conversations with grace and wisdom, leaving everyone involved feeling heard and valued. Stop thinking about yourself. It's easy to get trapped in your own head during conversations. You replay every word you've just said, second-guess your tone, or wonder if the other person is judging you. But the crazy thing is that the more you fixate on yourself, the harder it becomes to connect with others. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not external events." This Stoic wisdom is a powerful reminder that confidence isn't about controlling how others perceive you. It's about managing your thoughts and shifting your focus outward. When you stop obsessing over yourself and start genuinely engaging with the person in front of you, you create space for meaningful connection. Try to remember a situation where you felt awkward in a conversation. Maybe you were meeting someone new, and instead of paying attention to what they were saying, you were caught in a loop of self-criticism. Did that sound stupid? Am I coming off as boring? This inward focus not only heightens anxiety, but also causes you to miss opportunities to connect. This struggle is universal because we all want to be liked, respected, and understood. But Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control: our effort to listen, our curiosity, and our presence in the moment. Imagine you're in a job interview, nervous and hyper-aware of how you're coming across. As the interviewer asks questions, you start overthinking every response. Did I say that right? Do they think I'm capable? Should I have phrased that differently? The more you worry, the less focused you become, stumbling through answers and failing to engage. Now, let's take that same situation but apply a Stoic approach. You remind yourself, I can't control their perception, but I can control my presence. Instead of overanalyzing, you direct your attention to the interviewer. You listen to their questions with genuine interest, respond thoughtfully, and ask insightful questions about the role and company. Suddenly, the conversation flows naturally. You're no longer trying to perform, you're connecting. This shift in focus doesn't just calm your nerves, it also makes you more memorable. Confidence isn't about perfection. It's about being fully present and showing sincere curiosity about the other person. By stopping the spiral of self-consciousness, you embrace one of Stoicism's most profound lessons, the power of attention. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind. When you choose to focus on the conversation rather than your insecurities, you step into your power, showing confidence without forcing it. Whenever you catch yourself overthinking in a conversation, try this. Pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what is this person really saying? How can I engage with their message? Confidence grows when you realize that conversations aren't a performance. They're an opportunity to connect, to listen, and to understand. When you approach them with that mindset, you'll find that the best way to be memorable is to be present. Know what to say and take your time. There's no denying that staying silent in today's fast-paced world often feels uncomfortable. We are always in a rush to fill any gaps in conversation, even if it means speaking without fully thinking things through. But here's the thing. True confidence lies in your ability to pause, gather your thoughts, and respond with intention. The Stoics, known for their clarity and composure, understood the importance of taking your time. Seneca, in particular, taught us the power of embracing calm and avoiding hasty decisions. He once wrote, "It is quality, not speed, that matters." This wisdom applies not only to our actions, but also to the way we communicate. Speaking isn't a race. It's an opportunity to reflect and connect meaningfully with those around us. We've all experienced that moment when we feel the pressure to speak up immediately. Whether you're in a meeting, having a debate, or even chatting with friends. If there's an unspoken urgency to respond quickly, it often feels like silence is a sign of weakness or indecision. So what happens? We speak without thinking, blurting out a response that's either incomplete or misunderstood. Let's imagine that you're in a meeting with your boss and colleagues, and they ask for your opinion on an important topic. You feel the weight of their gaze on you, and instead of taking a moment to gather your thoughts, you rush to fill the silence with a quick answer. Your words may come out disjointed, leaving others confused, and you feeling a bit embarrassed. But what if, instead of panicking, you took a deep breath? What if you embraced that silence for just a moment, giving yourself the space to think clearly? The first thing you'll notice is that you speak clearly and confidently, offering a well-formed answer that adds value to the discussion. It's simple, but that pause, however brief, helps ensure that what you say is thoughtful, relevant, and impactful. This Stoic approach, taking time to reflect before responding, can transform your conversations. Without this technique, you'll find that it's increasingly difficult to think clearly. You rush to give an answer, stumble over your words, and accidentally make the situation more confusing. While staying silent might feel uncomfortable today, it is a powerful tool. By slowing down and pausing to think, you can provide more meaningful, intentional responses. As Seneca reminds us, true wisdom comes not from speed, but from careful, deliberate action. The next time you feel the pressure to speak immediately, embrace the silence. Use it to compose your thoughts, and when you speak, let your words carry weight. It's in those pauses that your confidence will grow, and your presence will be felt even more deeply in the conversation. Match your tone and body language to the situation. When it comes to communication, words are only part of the equation. In fact, the tone you use and the way you carry yourself, your body language, can be just as impactful, if not more so, than the message itself. As the Stoics would say, we should live in harmony with nature, meaning we must adapt ourselves to the situation and the environment we find ourselves in, ensuring that every element of our communication aligns with the context. Most of us are guilty of speaking in a way that doesn't quite match the environment. Maybe it's cracking a joke during a serious conversation, or speaking too casually when discussing something important. The result? A disconnect. Even if your words are spot on, if your body language or tone is misaligned with the situation, the message gets lost. For example, imagine you're in a job interview, an important opportunity to make a lasting impression. You sit down with the interviewer, and in your excitement, or nerves, you begin speaking in a tone that's too relaxed, or even worse, overly familiar. Your body language is open, maybe too open, and lacks the seriousness the situation demands. No matter how capable you are for the role, your tone and gestures could make you appear unprepared or less professional. There's a hidden key to enhancing your communication that many overlook: matching your tone and body language to the environment. When you align both, you drastically improve the impact of your message. For example, imagine speaking in a casual tone during a formal meeting. With relaxed body language, this might make you seem disengaged or uninterested, even if your words are on point. On the other hand, if you adjust your tone to be more measured while maintaining an open and engaged posture, you immediately convey professionalism and focus. This small shift in how you present yourself amplifies the confidence behind your words and makes your message far more impactful. This shift isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about adapting to the situation while staying true to your values. You don't need to change your personality. You simply need to tune into the moment and adjust your energy accordingly. Confidence isn't just about what you say, it's about how you say it and how you carry yourself. When your words, tone, and body language align, your message becomes powerful and your presence is undeniable. Like a Stoic, you embrace the present moment and adapt to it, ensuring that every part of your communication is in harmony with the situation. If you ever find yourself in a conversation, whether formal or informal, take a moment to observe the environment. Adjust your tone, posture, and gestures to match the context. This holistic approach will help you communicate with clarity, confidence, and authority, no matter the situation. As we reflect on the 5 Stoic techniques for confident communication, it's clear that they all share one essential principle: intention. Each technique, rooted in Stoic philosophy, encourages us to act with purpose and mindfulness, from speaking with brevity, choosing our words carefully, as Marcus Aurelius advised, to letting go of the need to win and embracing harmony instead of dominance. Stoic wisdom offers timeless guidance for living and communicating with confidence. Through shifting our focus away from ourselves, as we learn to listen with empathy and respond with presence, to taking our time, pausing before we speak to ensure our words carry weight. Each of these habits takes patience. They don't form overnight, and there's no need to expect perfection. What's important is progress. Every conversation, no matter how small, is an opportunity to practice, grow, and embody Stoic principles in action. Confidence is a journey, not a destination. The Stoic path isn't about being perfect in every moment. It's about making incremental progress, focusing on what we can control: our words, our mindset, and our actions. Every time you put these techniques into practice, whether in casual chats or high-stakes conversations, you are getting closer to mastering the art of confident communication. So embrace the journey, knowing that each conversation is a chance to grow in clarity, connection, and composure. Remember, as you go about your day, approach every interaction as an opportunity to apply these Stoic lessons. Keep practicing, and you'll soon notice how much more confident and composed you become in every conversation. Does your mind seem hardwired to focus on the negative? Scientists call this the negativity bias, and today we're going to learn how to combat it. To quote David Goggins, the same voice that says, "give up," can also be trained to say, "keep going." In this video, we'll go over 5 techniques you can use to banish negativity from your life and shift to a proactive Stoic mindset, because you don't have to let negativity win. You can use your mind to stay focused on what you can change and then make that change happen in the world. We'll start with cognitive diffusion, a powerful method to create distance between you and your thoughts. Then, we'll move on to pattern interruption, a technique to break negative thought loops in their tracks. After that, we'll describe negative visualization with a twist, an ancient Stoic practice reimagined for the modern mind. We'll go into behavioral activation, because sometimes the best way to change your thoughts is to change your actions. And finally, we'll talk about mental model design, restructuring your thought patterns so they serve you and not the other way around. But before we begin, let's answer the question: when is negativity a problem? It's not wrong to say I can't find my wallet or I'm locked out of my house. That's not what I mean by negativity. What I mean by negativity is very opinionated, negative thoughts that aren't helping you achieve your goals. Thoughts that are only causing you to feel bad and work less. These are the kinds of thoughts that would fit under the category of depression or sometimes even apathy. Our core belief here is that we live in a world where we can improve our situation with our thoughts and our actions. If what you're thinking goes against this, we call that negativity. As Epictetus said, we can't control what happens to us, but we can control our reactions to it. Having better reactions is what this video is about. So let's get started with our first technique, cognitive diffusion. What does that mean? Cognitive diffusion is a psychological technique that helps you step back from your thoughts and see them for what they really are. They are just thoughts, not facts or reality. The word diffusion is the opposite of fusion. It's about separating yourself from your thoughts for a moment instead of being fused or stuck to them. Here are a few examples of how cognitive diffusion works in action. Instead of saying, "I'm a failure," you learn to notice, "I'm having the thought that I'm failing right now." Rather than thinking, "Nobody likes me," you observe, "My mind is telling me nobody likes me." Instead of believing, "I can't handle this," you recognize, "I'm noticing thoughts about not being able to handle this." Now that we know what is happening, we can tackle it. Here are some techniques you can use if you notice it's time for cognitive diffusion. Leaves on a stream. Imagine your thoughts as leaves floating down a stream. You are simply watching them pass by, going farther and farther away. You don't have to engage with them. You can just observe. Thank your mind. When you have a negative thought, respond with thanks for that thought. This creates distance. You've recognized the thought and acknowledged it, and for now, that's enough. Name the story. Label recurring thought patterns with names that fit, like, "There's my not good enough story again." Noticing it and giving it a name helps loosen its grip over you. Create imaginary physical distance. Imagine writing your thought on a balloon and watching it float away. It's like the leaves on a stream technique, but with a bigger, more vivid physical aspect. You're mentally sending the thought away, putting it in timeout. You may come back to it later, but you don't need it in front of you right now. To recap, you can use leaves on a stream, thank your mind, name the story, and create physical distance whenever you need to practice cognitive diffusion. You can do this whenever you're having intense negative thoughts, to give yourself some breathing room, calm down, and think clearly. The key insight of cognitive diffusion is that you are not your thoughts. You're the observer who can notice thoughts coming and going. This creates mental flexibility and reduces the power negativity has over you. Now let's move on to our second technique, pattern interruption. What is pattern interruption? This is a psychological method that helps you break free from negativity by switching your mental or physical state when your mind gets stuck in a cycle of harmful thoughts. It acts like hitting a reset button on your brain. Your brain creates pathways that strengthen with repetition. When you repeatedly think negative thoughts, these pathways become well-traveled roads that your mind naturally follows. Think of it like water flowing down a hill. It naturally takes the path of least resistance. When these patterns take hold, one negative thought triggers another. So how do we break out of these patterns? One way is simple. Use temperature. Splash cold water on your face. Take a hot shower. Hold an ice cube in your hand. The sudden temperature shift jolts your nervous system out of the cycle it was in. Another method is movement. Stand up and stretch. Break out a jump rope. Simply walk to another room. Physical movement is an easy way to change the thought pattern that was present while you were still. Math or mental problems work in a similar way. If you've got 5 minutes and you're having negative thoughts, you might turn to a short, not too long game. The concentration required can make it difficult to maintain negative thoughts. Hopefully you get the idea. The key is to create an interruption toolkit that you can access whenever you need it. Start by identifying your common negative thought patterns. Notice when they occur. Then select a pattern interruption technique that resonates with you and is practical in those situations. It's simple, but it works. Now, let's move on to our third technique. Behavioral activation. Behavioral activation. Behavioral activation is based on a powerful truth. Sometimes the best way to change your thoughts isn't more thinking, it's taking action. As Marcus Aurelius put it, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. Instead of endlessly analyzing why you're feeling negative, behavioral activation encourages you to act your way into a new way of thinking. Here's how you do it. Embrace the 2-minute rule. When negativity hits, commit to just 2 minutes of positive action. Too depressed to clean your house? Just clean for 2 minutes. Avoiding an important project? Work on it for just 2 minutes. Often, you'll find yourself continuing beyond those first minutes once you've overcome the inertia of starting. Focus on building a positive history of action. Each small action you take creates evidence that contradicts your negative beliefs. If you think, "I never follow through on anything," completing even one small task provides concrete proof against that thought. Over time, these positive data points add up, making it harder to maintain negative narratives. Create specific action plans for different thought types. For thoughts like, "I'm not making progress," your action might be to list 3 things you've accomplished. For, "I'll never be good enough," your action could be practicing a skill for 15 minutes. The key is having pre-planned responses ready when specific negative thoughts appear. Track your successes to build momentum. Keep a simple log of the actions you take and how they affect your mood. This creates a visible record of your progress and helps you identify the activities that help you feel the best. When negative thoughts tell you that nothing matters or nothing will help, behavioral activation challenges that directly benefit with evidence. It's hard to maintain the belief that you're powerless, when you're actively taking steps to improve your situation. To summarize, start small with the 2-minute rule. Build positive data points that contradict your negative beliefs. Create specific action plans for different thought patterns. Track your successes to reinforce progress. This technique works because it moves you from passive to active within the context of your life. And that shift alone can be enough to break the grip of negativity and put you back on top. Our fourth technique is all about gradual improvement. It's called thought recording. The idea is simple. By examining your thoughts systematically, you can learn to separate critical thinking from unhelpful negativity. It starts with tracking your thoughts effectively. Today we have powerful tools in our pockets that can help us do this. Apps like Mood Notes, Thought Diary, or even just a simple notes app on your phone. The key is to write down emotional thoughts quickly as soon as they come to you. Once you've captured a thought, here's what to do with it. Examine the evidence, both for and against. Example, if you think my presentation was a disaster, you might list evidence for, I stumbled over my words, but also challenge it with evidence against, my boss thanked me afterward. This approach helps you generate a balanced perspective. Instead of thinking, I'm terrible at presentations, you might conclude, I had some rough moments, but I also connected with my audience. With practice, I can improve. Keep the good critical insights while discarding unhelpful negativity. As the Stoics understood, acknowledging reality, including its difficulties, is crucial for developing wisdom. Thought recording is about seeing situations clearly without the distortion of excessive pessimism. To recap, next time you notice a persistent negative thought, write it down exactly as it appears in your mind. List evidence both for and against it. Create a more balanced alternative that represents the truth of the situation better. What you'll often find is that your belief in the negative thought decreases, not because you've forced yourself to think positive, but because you've engaged with reality more fully. And that can only be a good thing. Our fifth and final technique is mental model design. While our other techniques help you work with negative thoughts as they arise, mental model design is about restructuring your environment to prevent negativity from taking hold in the first place. Think of it this way. If you wanted to eat healthier, you wouldn't just rely on willpower. Each time you open the fridge, you'd stock your kitchen with nutritious foods and remove temptations. The same principle applies to your mental environment. Let's start with your physical space. Your surroundings have a profound impact on your thoughts. The ancient Stoics understood this. Seneca advised carefully choosing the company we keep and the environments we live in. This could be as simple as creating a dedicated area for focused work, free from distractions, or it could mean decluttering your living space to reduce visual chaos that contributes to mental noise. Research shows that people who work in organized environments are able to persist longer on challenging tasks. A win that helps you overcome the circumstances that allow negative thoughts to arise. Next, consider your digital environment. Our devices can be gateways to either inspiration or despair. Try this. Audit your phone's home screen and social media feeds. Replace apps that trigger anxiety with tools that support reflection or learning. Set boundaries around news consumption if you find it feeds your negativity bias. Beyond your physical and digital spaces, mental model design includes creating positive, thought-supporting routines. The Stoics emphasize the importance of daily practices that strengthen the mind. Marcus Aurelius began each day with journaling to set his intentions and remind himself of his values. You might establish a morning routine that includes a gratitude practice or visualization of successful outcomes, or an evening routine that involves reflecting on what went well, not just what went wrong. These practices create pathways in your mind that make positive thinking more automatic over time. Finally, mental model design involves having the courage to restructure your life situation. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is remove yourself from environments that are fundamentally misaligned with your values or growth. As Epictetus said, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Mental model design works because it acknowledges that humans are contextual beings. By thoughtfully shaping your environment, you're making it easier for your best self to emerge naturally. You're creating conditions where positivity becomes the path of least resistance rather than something you have to fight for constantly. In essence, you're designing a life where Stoic resilience becomes your default setting. So, start there and then keep improving your environment to make yourself stronger. And with that, we reach our conclusion. In this video, we've explored 5 powerful Stoic techniques to overcome negativity: cognitive diffusion to create distance from unhelpful thoughts, pattern interruption to break negative mental cycles, behavioral activation to act your way into better thinking, thought recording to study your thoughts, mental model design to create an environment that supports positive thinking. The negativity bias is powerful, but so is your ability to reshape your thoughts and reaction. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By applying these Stoic principles consistently, you can transform your relationship with negativity and build resilience that serves you in every area of life. Whether you're starting a business, changing careers, or facing any other life challenge, we hope these principles help you find your way forward. Remember, like Epictetus said, you have the power to transform any circumstance into an opportunity for growth. Whether you're practicing cognitive diffusion, interrupting negative patterns, activating positive behaviors, recording your thoughts, or designing mental models, every moment is a chance to strengthen your inner citadel, to turn past failures into present strength. In the chaos of our daily lives, it's easy to feel like we're drowning in a sea of stress and uncertainty. Yet, there's a way to find calm amidst the storm, a path to inner peace that has stood the test of time. Picture this: despite everything that's thrown at you, work pressures, personal conflicts, unexpected challenges, you can stand firm, unshaken, and serene. This isn't just a dream, it's the essence of Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches us how to master our emotions and reactions to live a more fulfilled life. Today we're diving into the heart of Stoicism, exploring 10 timeless principles that can transform the way you navigate life's inevitable ups and downs. These principles are not abstract theories, but practical tools that you can apply every day to build resilience and inner strength. Whether you're struggling with a difficult relationship, feeling overwhelmed by your responsibilities, or simply seeking a deeper sense of purpose, the wisdom of Stoicism offers profound insights and practical strategies to help you thrive. Stay with me as we journey through these powerful Stoic teachings, from learning how to maintain a firm purpose in life to mastering the art of emotional control. Each principle is a stepping stone to a life where external events no longer dictate your inner peace. By the end of this video, you'll have the knowledge and tools to cultivate a state of calm and confidence no matter what life throws your way. So, let's embark on this transformative journey together and discover how the ancient wisdom of Stoicism can help you achieve unshakable tranquility and true happiness. If you appreciate what we're doing here, a simple, free favor I'll ask from you is to hit the subscribe button, and don't skip any part of the video. Imagine setting sail on a vast ocean without a clear destination. You drift aimlessly, subject to every shift in the wind and wave. That's what life feels like without a firm purpose, directionless and vulnerable to external forces. Epictetus emphasized the importance of having clear, firm purposes. He said, "Difficulties show a person's character, and the greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it." This isn't just a philosophical musing. It's a call to action. When you have a firm purpose, it's like having a compass that guides you through life's tumultuous seas. This purpose doesn't appear out of nowhere. It's crafted through moments of deep reflection on what truly matters to you. It's not just about career goals or personal achievements, but also about the principles and values you want to dedicate your life to. What do you stand for? What kind of person do you aspire to be? These are the questions you need to answer to find your firm purpose. Once you identify your purpose, it acts as an anchor, grounding you amidst the chaos. Life will throw challenges your way. This is inevitable. But with a firm purpose, these challenges become more manageable. They turn from insurmountable mountains into stepping stones that you can climb. Think of it this way. When your goals and values are crystal clear, the world around you seems to shrink. Colossal challenges become small steps in the journey toward your ultimate purpose. This inner strength, cultivated through Stoic wisdom, cannot be easily defeated. A firm purpose is not something you stumble upon by chance. It's the result of deliberate, deep reflection on what genuinely matters to you. This reflection requires time and honesty. You must dig deep into your soul, beyond superficial desires and fleeting wants, to discover what truly drives you. This might involve reevaluating your life's direction, shedding old habits, or embracing new perspectives. It's a continuous process of self-discovery and alignment with your true self. Once you've found this purpose and ingrained it into your heart, the next step is to apply diligence to protect and nurture it. This involves perseverance and a steadfast commitment to your goals. It's about showing up every day, even when the going gets tough. It's about pushing through setbacks and failures, knowing that they are part of the journey. Remember, a firm purpose isn't just a destination, it's a guiding light that helps you navigate life's journey with confidence and resilience. Think of a firm purpose as a beacon in the night. It not only guides you, but also provides a sense of security and stability. When life's whirlwinds try to pull you off course, your firm purpose acts as a lifebuoy, keeping you from sinking into the sea of emotions and difficult circumstances. This is the power of Stoicism. It's not just a set of rules for living. It's a profound understanding of the power of will and determination. Epictetus reminds us that true power lies in our ability to stay committed to our purpose despite external obstacles. In the light of this philosophy, nothing is impossible, and nothing can shake your resilient spirit. So, take some time to reflect deeply on your purpose. Write it down, internalize it, and let it guide you. This firm purpose will be your anchor, your beacon, and your unwavering guide through the storms of life. When someone offends us, it's natural to feel hurt and want to retaliate. But here's where Stoicism steps in with a powerful lesson. Our emotions are the result of our thoughts and personal perspectives. This means we have the power to choose how to respond to any situation. Instead of letting offense overwhelm us, we can see it as an opportunity to strengthen our patience and self-awareness. Think of it like this. Every time you resist the urge to react impulsively, you're building a mental muscle. You're training your mind to remain calm and composed no matter what. Mind control is not just a skill. It's an art that requires daily practice. Start with small habits that help you regain control over your thoughts. For instance, set small, achievable goals every day. Each time you accomplish a goal, no matter how minor, you build self-confidence and reinforce your ability to control your mind. Focus on living in the present moment and deepening your understanding of your emotions. When you start to realize that you have the power to choose your reactions, you'll become resilient to challenges and less swayed by negative emotions. Consider the story of a baker who dedicates every day to perfecting their craft. This baker isn't swayed by excessive criticism or praise. They focus solely on improving their skills, paying no mind to external opinions. This single-minded dedication allows them to achieve true freedom and inner peace. Similarly, by guarding your mind against external influences, you can focus on your own growth. Guarding your mind also involves setting boundaries. Be mindful of what you allow into your mental space. Just as you wouldn't let garbage into your home, don't let negative thoughts, toxic people, or harmful media clutter your mind. Surround yourself with positive influences that uplift and inspire you. Read books that expand your knowledge, engage in conversations that challenge and grow your thinking, and spend time with people who support and encourage you. Stoic philosophy isn't just a classical discipline. It's a powerful tool for modern life. By learning to control our minds and handle our emotions maturely, we can achieve genuine peace and freedom amidst a volatile and uncertain world. This isn't about suppressing emotions, but understanding them deeply and responding in a way that aligns with our values and purpose. One practical technique is to practice mindfulness or meditation. These practices help you become more aware of your thoughts and emotions, creating a gap between stimulus and response. In that gap lies your power and freedom. By regularly practicing mindfulness, you train your mind to observe without immediately reacting, giving you greater control over your emotional landscape. Another aspect of guarding your mind is cultivating a growth mindset. Embrace challenges as opportunities for growth rather than threats to your comfort. When you encounter difficulties, remind yourself that every obstacle is a chance to become stronger and wiser. This shift in perspective can transform how you experience adversity, making you more resilient and less susceptible to negative influences. Remember, guarding your mind is a lifelong journey. It's about consistently choosing to focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your responses, and your attitudes. It's about rejecting the victim mentality and embracing the role of an active creator of your own experience. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. And soon enough, you'll find that external events have less and less power over your inner peace. Epictetus taught that we cannot control the opinions or actions of others, but we can control how we react to them. This principle means that even when someone criticizes us harshly, we have the power to decide how much that criticism will affect us. In today's world, this translates to accepting that everyone has their own perspectives and values, which may not always align with ours. It's normal to encounter differing opinions and sometimes harsh words. What matters is how we process and respond to these situations. The first step in handling criticism is understanding ourselves deeply. When you have a clear understanding of your motivations and the reasons behind your actions, criticism from others loses its sting. If you know you are acting according to your values and principles, negative words from others become less significant. This self-awareness creates a strong foundation that protects you from being easily swayed by external opinions. When faced with criticism, instead of reacting defensively, take a moment to pause and reflect. Ask yourself if there is any truth in the criticism. Sometimes even harsh feedback can contain valuable insights that can help us grow. This doesn't mean you have to accept all criticism as valid, but being open to considering it shows maturity and a willingness to learn. Stoicism also teaches the importance of patience and gentleness. Patience allows us to maintain our composure and not react hastily or negatively to criticism. Gentleness helps us maintain good relationships with others, even when they disagree with us or criticize us. Think of the lives of saints and ascetics who faced harm and insult with patience and kindness, always holding fast to their chosen path. By practicing patience and gentleness, we can handle criticism without letting it disrupt our inner peace. Handling criticism also involves developing a thick skin. This doesn't mean becoming indifferent or ignoring feedback, but rather building resilience. It's about understanding that not all criticism is about you. Sometimes people criticize others because of their own insecurities, frustrations, or misunderstandings. By recognizing this, you can depersonalize the criticism and not let it affect your self-worth. Remember that you have the power to choose your response. This freedom is central to Stoic philosophy. Just because someone criticizes you doesn't mean you have to accept their judgment as the final word on your character or abilities. You can choose to take what's useful and discard the rest. This selective approach to handling criticism allows you to grow without being weighed down by negativity. Engaging in constructive dialogue is another effective way to handle criticism. If the criticism comes from someone close, like a friend or family member, consider discussing it with them. Ask for clarification and express your perspective calmly. This not only helps resolve any misunderstandings, but also strengthens your relationships by fostering open communication and mutual respect. Handling criticism effectively can inspire others. When people see you responding to criticism with grace, composure, and a willingness to learn, they are likely to admire your strength and follow your example. You become a role model for resilience and emotional intelligence, embodying the principles of Stoicism in everyday life. Epictetus taught that what frightens and dismays us is not the events themselves, but how we think about them. This means that when someone offends you, it's not their words or actions that hurt you, but rather your perception and reaction to those words or actions. In other words, the power lies within you to decide how much an offense will impact you. This principle is liberating because it shifts the control from external circumstances to your internal world. Transforming offense isn't about denying your emotion. It's natural to feel hurt or angry when you're offended. Stoicism teaches us to acknowledge these emotions without being controlled by them. It's about creating a space between the stimulus and your response. In that space lies your power to choose a response that aligns with your values and long-term goals. One practical way to transform offense is through cognitive reframing. When you feel offended, try to look at the situation from a different angle. Instead of focusing on the negative, ask yourself what you can learn from this experience. This doesn't mean you have to agree with the offender, but it allows you to extract any potential lessons and grow from them. For instance, if a friend criticizes your lifestyle choices, instead of taking it personally, consider if there's any merit to their observation, or if it's an opportunity to affirm your commitment to your values. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of empathy. When someone offends you, try to put yourself in their shoes. What might they be going through that caused them to act this way? This perspective can help you respond with compassion rather than anger. It's not about excusing bad behavior, but about understanding the human condition and recognizing that everyone has their struggles. Another powerful technique is to practice forgiveness. Holding on to offense and resentment only harms you. It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. By choosing to forgive, you free yourself from the burden of negative emotions. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning the offense, but rather releasing its hold on you. It's a gift you give yourself, allowing you to move forward with peace and clarity. Stoic philosophy also teaches us that true strength lies in embracing and overcoming difficulties, not in avoiding them. Every offense you encounter is an opportunity to build your resilience. Just like a muscle grows stronger through resistance, your character strengthens through facing and transforming offenses. The more you practice this, the more naturally it will come, until you find that external events have little power to disturb your inner peace. Remember that transforming offense is a practice. It's not something you perfect overnight. It requires patience, self-awareness, and a commitment to personal growth. Each time you choose to transform an offense, you're reinforcing a positive habit and making it easier to respond constructively in the future. Epictetus pointed out a profound truth. We are the ones who assign meaning to events, thus creating fear and shame within our souls. This means that these emotions are not inherent in the situations themselves, but are products of our interpretations. Once we understand this, we can begin to change the way we perceive and respond to fear and shame. Fear often arises from the unknown or the anticipation of negative outcomes. It's a natural response meant to protect us, but it can become debilitating if left unchecked. Stoicism teaches us to face our fears head-on. Instead of avoiding what scares us, we should examine it closely. Ask yourself, what exactly am I afraid of? Break it down into specific concerns. Often, you'll find that the fear loses its power when you analyze it rationally. For instance, imagine you're afraid of public speaking. This fear might stem from the worry of being judged or making mistakes. But by breaking it down, you realize that the audience is not there to judge you harshly. They are there to listen and learn. And even if you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. Every speaker stumbles at some point. By facing this fear and preparing thoroughly, you gradually build confidence. Each time you speak, you chip away at the fear, and it becomes more manageable. Shame is a deep-seated emotion that can make us feel unworthy or flawed. It often stems from societal pressures or past mistakes. Stoicism teaches us to confront shame with courage and self-compassion. It's about accepting our imperfections and learning from our experiences rather than being defined by them. Consider a situation where you feel ashamed of a past mistake. Instead of allowing this shame to fester, face it directly. Reflect on the mistake and understand why it happened. What can you learn from it? How can you use this experience to grow and become a better person? This process of reflection and learning helps you transform shame into a valuable lesson rather than a source of self-loathing. Another powerful tool in overcoming shame is self-forgiveness. Holding on to shame keeps us trapped in a cycle of self-criticism. By forgiving ourselves, we release the heavy burden and allow ourselves to move forward. This doesn't mean excusing our mistakes, but acknowledging them, learning from them, and then letting them go. It's a crucial step in healing and personal growth. To practice overcoming fear and shame, start with small steps. Expose yourself gradually to situations that trigger these emotions. Use each experience as a learning opportunity. Over time, you'll build resilience and find that what once terrified or shamed you no longer has the same hold over you. This gradual exposure and reflection help to desensitize you to fear and shame, making them more manageable. Stoicism also teaches the importance of community and support. Share your fears and feelings of shame with trusted friends or mentors. Opening up about these emotions can be liberating and provide you with new perspectives and encouragement. Often, you'll find that others have faced similar challenges and can offer valuable insights and support. Epictetus suggested that by envisioning potential difficulties along our path, we prepare ourselves to face them calmly and thoughtfully. This isn't about being pessimistic or expecting the worst. It's about being realistic and ready for anything. When you anticipate obstacles, you're not caught off guard when they appear. Instead, you've already considered possible solutions and ways to manage your reactions. One practical way to anticipate obstacles is through a technique called premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. This involves taking time to visualize potential challenges and consider how you would respond to them. For example, before a big meeting, you might think about what could go wrong, technical difficulties, tough questions, or even personal nervousness. By envisioning these scenarios, you can plan your responses and reduce the impact of surprise. This practice isn't about dwelling on negativity, but about building mental resilience. When you've mentally rehearsed handling difficulties, you're less likely to be thrown off balance when they occur. You become more adaptable and capable of maintaining your composure, which is a hallmark of Stoic philosophy. Anticipating obstacles also means being flexible and open to change. Life rarely goes exactly as planned, and rigid expectations can lead to disappointment and stress. By anticipating that things may not go as expected, you can remain flexible and adjust your plans as needed. This adaptability is crucial for navigating life's uncertainties with grace and effectiveness. Another important aspect of anticipating obstacles is maintaining a balanced perspective. While it's useful to consider potential difficulties, it's equally important to recognize your strengths and resources. Acknowledge the skills, knowledge, and support systems you have that can help you overcome challenges. This balanced approach ensures that you're prepared without becoming overly anxious or negative. Anticipating obstacles helps build patience and perseverance. When you know that challenges are inevitable, you develop a long-term mindset that values persistence over immediate success. You become more patient with the process and more resilient in the face of setbacks. This endurance is a key component of Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes the importance of steadfastness and inner strength. Engaging in regular reflection can also enhance your ability to anticipate obstacles. Take time to review past experiences and identify patterns. What challenges did you face, and how did you overcome them? What strategies worked, and what could you improve? By learning from your experiences, you can better prepare for future obstacles and refine your approach to problem solving. Incorporating mindfulness practices can further strengthen your ability to anticipate and manage obstacles. Mindfulness helps you stay present and aware, allowing you to recognize potential challenges early and respond thoughtfully. It enhances your emotional regulation, ensuring that you remain calm and centered, even in stressful situations. Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This simple yet profound statement underscores the essence of inner strength. Our true power lies not in altering external circumstances, but in mastering our inner responses. When faced with adversity, whether it's severe criticism from a trusted friend or an unexpected setback, we have the freedom to choose our response. This choice defines our character and shapes our life. Inner strength is cultivated through self-awareness and deliberate practice. It starts with recognizing your emotions without letting them overwhelm you. This doesn't mean suppressing your feelings, but rather observing them and understanding their roots. When you become aware of your emotional triggers, you can better manage your reactions. This self-awareness is the first step toward building inner strength. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of distinguishing between what is within our control and what is not. This distinction is crucial for maintaining inner peace. We cannot control other people's actions or opinions, but we can control our attitudes and responses. By focusing on what we can control, we conserve our energy and reduce unnecessary stress. This mindset shift is empowering and helps us stay grounded in the face of external turbulence. Forgiveness is another powerful aspect of inner strength. Holding on to grudges and resentment drains our energy and clouds our judgment. Just as Stoicism teaches us to control our reactions, it also encourages us to practice forgiveness. This doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior, but rather releasing its hold on us. By forgiving, we free ourselves from the burden of negative emotions and create space for healing and growth. Building inner strength also involves developing resilience. Life is full of ups and downs, and setbacks are inevitable. The key is to view these setbacks as opportunities to strengthen your character. Every challenge you face is a chance to practice resilience and perseverance. Over time, this practice fortifies your inner strength, making you more adaptable and less susceptible to life's fluctuations. Stoicism encourages us to seek strength not just in ourselves, but also in our community and faith. Surround yourself with supportive and like-minded individuals who uplift and inspire you. Engage in conversations that challenge and expand your thinking. If you have a spiritual practice, draw on it for strength and guidance. These external sources of support can reinforce your inner strength and provide a sense of belonging and purpose. Practicing gratitude is another effective way to cultivate inner strength. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have, fostering a positive mindset even in difficult times. There is always something to be grateful for. By regularly acknowledging and appreciating these positives, you strengthen your emotional resilience and maintain a balanced perspective. Inner strength is also about embracing vulnerability. Acknowledging your fears and insecurities doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. By confronting these vulnerabilities with courage and compassion, you transform them into sources of strength. This self-acceptance is a vital component of inner strength, allowing you to navigate life with authenticity and confidence. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or pretending they don't exist. It means acknowledging your feelings but not letting them dictate your action. It's about creating a space between stimulus and response, a moment to reflect and choose the most appropriate course of action. This practice of pausing and reflecting is powerful and can transform how you interact with the world. Consider the example of driving in heavy traffic. Someone cuts you off, and your immediate reaction might be anger or even road rage. Instead of acting on this impulse, Stoicism encourages you to pause and consider your response. Will honking or shouting make the situation better? Probably not. By choosing to remain calm, you maintain control over your emotions and actions, leading to a more peaceful and less stressful experience. Another aspect of restraining actions is the ability to delay gratification. In our fast-paced world, we're often tempted to seek immediate rewards and avoid discomfort. However, Stoicism teaches us the value of patience and perseverance. By delaying gratification and working towards long-term goals, we cultivate discipline and resilience. This principle also applies to how we communicate with others. In moments of heated discussion or conflict, it's easy to let emotions take over and say things we might later regret. Stoicism teaches us to practice restraint in our words. Before speaking, consider the impact of your words. Are they constructive? Do they reflect your values? By speaking mindfully and with intention, you can build stronger, more respectful relationships. Practicing self-restraint requires self-awareness and discipline. It's about being conscious of your impulses and actively choosing to control them. This might involve setting personal boundaries, practicing mindfulness, or developing new habits that support your goals. For instance, if you tend to procrastinate, create a structured schedule that helps you stay focused and productive. If you struggle with anger, practice relaxation techniques that help you remain calm in stressful situations. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of acting according to reason rather than impulse. This means making decisions based on thoughtful consideration of the situation and its consequences. Imagine you're faced with a significant decision at work. Instead of making a hasty choice, take the time to gather information, weigh the pros and cons, and consider how your decision aligns with your values and goals. This reasoned approach leads to better outcomes and a greater sense of control. Restraining actions is not about becoming passive or avoiding action altogether. It's about being deliberate and intentional in our choices. It's about understanding that our actions have consequences and taking responsibility for them. By practicing self-restraint, we become more effective in achieving our goals and maintaining our inner peace. Engaging in regular reflection can also enhance your ability to restrain actions. Take time each day to review your behavior and consider where you could have exercised more restraint. What triggered your impulses? How could you respond differently in the future? This ongoing self-assessment helps you build greater self-awareness and strengthens your commitment to acting with intention. Another practical approach to restraining actions is to develop a daily mindfulness practice. Mindfulness helps you stay present and aware, allowing you to recognize impulsive urges and choose more thoughtful responses. Whether through meditation, deep breathing exercises, or mindful observation, incorporating mindfulness into your routine can significantly enhance your self-control. Acceptance is the first step towards effective action. When we resist reality, we waste energy and create unnecessary suffering. For example, if you lose your job, it's natural to feel upset and worried about the future. But by accepting the situation, you can focus on what you can do next. Updating your resume, networking, or exploring new career opportunities. This proactive mindset enables you to navigate the challenge more effectively and reduces the emotional toll of the experience. One practical way to cultivate acceptance is through mindfulness and meditation. These practices help you stay present and aware, allowing you to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment. By regularly practicing mindfulness, you develop the ability to accept each moment as it comes, with all its imperfections and uncertainties. This acceptance creates a foundation of inner peace and resilience. Stoicism teaches us that acceptance is not about giving up, but about finding strength in adversity. It's about understanding that every event, no matter how challenging, offers an opportunity for growth and learning. When faced with difficulties, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this experience make me stronger? This shift in perspective transforms obstacles into stepping stones for personal development. Acceptance also involves letting go of perfectionism. Many of us strive for perfection in our careers, relationships, and personal achievement. However, this relentless pursuit can lead to stress and dissatisfaction. By accepting that perfection is unattainable, we can appreciate our efforts and progress. This doesn't mean lowering our standards, but recognizing that imperfections are part of the human experience. Embracing our flaws and setbacks with compassion allows us to live more fully and authentically. Gratitude is another powerful tool for cultivating acceptance. When we focus on what we have rather than what we lack, we shift our mindset from scarcity to abundance. Gratitude helps us see the good in our lives, even amidst challenges. By regularly practicing gratitude, we reinforce a positive outlook and strengthen our ability to accept and appreciate life as it is. Acceptance also extends to our relationships. We often have expectations of how others should behave, leading to frustration and disappointment when they don't meet these expectations. By accepting people as they are, with all their strengths and weaknesses, we can build more harmonious and fulfilling relationships. This doesn't mean tolerating harmful behavior, but understanding that everyone has their own journey and challenges. By practicing empathy and compassion, we create a space for authentic connections and mutual growth. Epictetus and other Stoic philosophers emphasized that living according to nature means recognizing our place in the world and acting in accordance with our rational and social nature. At its core, this principle is about living authentically and in harmony with the universe. Living according to nature starts with self-awareness. It requires a deep understanding of who we are and what our true nature is. This involves introspection and reflection on our values, strengths, and purpose. By understanding our natural tendencies and inclinations, we can make choices that align with our true selves rather than conforming to societal expectations or external pressures. This principle also means recognizing and accepting the natural cycles of life. Just as the seasons change, our lives go through different phases: growth, stability, decline, and renewal. By accepting these cycles, we can navigate life's transitions with greater ease and grace. Living according to nature involves cultivating virtues such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These virtues are the guiding principles that help us navigate life's challenges and make ethical decisions. Wisdom allows us to see things clearly and make informed choices. Courage gives us the strength to face adversity and take action. Justice ensures that we act fairly and honorably in our relationships. Temperance helps us maintain balance and self-control. By cultivating these virtues, we align our actions with our natural, rational nature. Stoicism also teaches us to live in harmony with others. As social beings, we are naturally connected to those around us. Living according to nature means recognizing our interdependence and contributing to the well-being of our community. This involves practicing empathy, compassion, and cooperation. When we help others and build positive relationships, we fulfill our social nature and create a more harmonious and supportive environment. Another aspect of living according to nature is embracing simplicity and focusing on what truly matters. In a world filled with distractions and materialistic pursuits, it's easy to lose sight of our true priorities. Stoicism encourages us to strip away the excess and focus on our core values and essential needs. This might involve simplifying our lifestyle, prioritizing meaningful relationships, and dedicating time to personal growth and self-care. By doing so, we create space for what truly brings us joy and fulfillment. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of acceptance and gratitude in living according to nature. Accepting the natural flow of life means letting go of the need to control every outcome and trusting in the process. It's about being grateful for what we have and appreciating the present moment. Gratitude helps us recognize the abundance in our lives and fosters a positive mindset. By focusing on the good, we cultivate a sense of contentment and peace. Living according to nature requires us to be mindful of our impact on the environment. As part of the natural world, we have a responsibility to care for the planet and preserve its resources. This involves making sustainable choices, reducing waste, and respecting the delicate balance of ecosystems. By living in an environmentally conscious way, we honor our connection to nature and contribute to the well-being of future generations. Incorporating mindfulness into our daily lives can enhance our ability to live according to nature. Mindfulness helps us stay present and aware, allowing us to make intentional choices that align with our true selves. Whether through meditation, deep breathing, or mindful observation, these practices help us connect with our inner nature and the world around us. They encourage us to slow down, reflect, and act with purpose. Life will test you. You will face setbacks, disappointments, and moments where you feel like everything is against you. That's a guarantee. But here's the real question: how do you respond? Do you let life break you, or do you use those challenges to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient? Mentally strong people don't crumble under pressure. They don't allow fear, doubt, or negativity to control them. Instead, they build a mindset that allows them to face anything with clarity, confidence, and inner peace. This isn't about pretending life is easy. It's about mastering yourself so that no matter what happens, you remain unshaken. The ancient Stoics understood this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man of his time, wrote to himself every day, reminding himself that life is unpredictable, that hardships are inevitable, but that his response was always within his control. He knew that true strength doesn't come from avoiding difficulties, but from training your mind to rise above them. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. The 6 habits that separate the mentally strong from everyone else. These aren't just theories. They're practical, battle-tested principles that you can start applying today to build an unshakable mindset. So stay with me until the very end, because every single point we're about to discuss is crucial. Don't skip around or you'll miss the key that could change everything for you. And if you appreciate what we're doing here, there's one simple free favor I'll ask. Hit that subscribe button. It takes a second, but it makes a huge difference in helping us keep bringing you valuable content. Now, let's dive in. Nothing in life stays the same. The seasons change, people come and go, and the world keeps moving, whether we're ready for it or not. Yet so many of us resist change as if clinging to what's familiar will somehow stop the inevitable. But let me ask you this. Has holding on ever made life easier, or has it only made transitions more painful? We fear change because it forces us out of our comfort zones. It disrupts our routines, shakes our sense of control, and makes us question where we're headed. But here's the truth. Change is not the enemy. The real danger lies in resisting it, because the more you fight against reality, the more suffering you create for yourself. The ancient Stoics understood this well. They didn't waste energy wishing things were different. Instead, they trained themselves to adapt, to see every shift in life as an opportunity rather than a threat. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, ruled an empire during war, plague, and betrayal. He could have spent his days complaining, asking, "Why is this happening to me?" But instead, he reminded himself, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In other words, the very obstacles we fear are often the path forward. If we learn to work with change instead of against it, we become stronger, wiser, and more capable of handling whatever life throws at us. Think about it. When has something unexpected forced you to grow? Maybe it was losing a job, ending a relationship, or moving to a new place. At first, it probably felt overwhelming, even painful, but looking back, didn't it also shape you into who you are today? The problem is, we only see the wisdom in change after we've survived it. But what if we could shift our mindset while we're going through it? What if instead of resisting, we asked ourselves, what is this teaching me? How can I use this to my advantage? The Stoics had a saying, amor fati, which means love your fate. Not just accept it, not just tolerate it, love it. Love the challenges, love the unexpected detours, love the things that push you to grow, even when they don't feel good in the moment. Because every change, no matter how difficult, is shaping you into someone stronger. And here's the key, mentally strong people lean into discomfort. They don't wait for perfect conditions to take action. They don't waste energy wishing things would go back to the way they were. They adapt. They adjust their sails to the winds of change instead of fighting the current, and in doing so, they remain steady no matter how stormy life gets. So, the next time change comes knocking, and it will, pause for a moment. Instead of reacting with fear, ask yourself, how can I use this? Because when you stop resisting change, you start mastering it. And that's the mindset that will carry you through anything. You've probably had moments where your emotions got the best of you, where anger led to an argument you later regretted, or fear held you back from taking an opportunity that could have changed your life. We've all been there. Emotions are powerful, and when left unchecked, they can control our actions, dictate our decisions, and even shape the course of our lives. But here's the thing, mentally strong people don't let their emotions control them. They control their emotions. Now, that doesn't mean they suppress what they feel. Stoicism isn't about becoming an emotionless robot. It's about mastering your reactions. The Stoics understood that emotions in themselves aren't the problem. It's our response to them that determines whether they serve us or destroy us. Marcus Aurelius put it perfectly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Think about the last time someone said something that irritated you. Maybe a rude comment, an unfair criticism, or even just someone cutting you off in traffic. What was your first instinct? To react immediately? To lash out? That's what most people do. But what if instead you paused for a second and asked yourself, is this worth my energy? Will this matter tomorrow? That small pause, that moment of awareness, is the difference between being ruled by your emotions and mastering them. Seneca, another great Stoic, advised that when anger rises, don't act on it right away. give it time to settle. Because in the heat of the moment, we often make choices that we later regret. And isn't that true? How many times have we said or done something in an emotional state only to look back and wish we had handled it differently? The truth is, emotions are like the weather, unpredictable, constantly changing, and often beyond our control. But just like a sailor doesn't try to control the wind, we shouldn't try to suppress our emotions. Instead, we should learn to navigate them. A skilled sailor adjusts their sails, knowing that the storm will pass. And in the same way, mentally strong people acknowledge their emotions but refuse to let them steer the ship. Now, does this mean we should ignore how we feel? Not at all. The Stoics weren't about denying emotions, but rather understanding them. When fear shows up, ask, what is this fear trying to tell me? When sadness appears, ask, what lesson is hidden here? Emotions can be teachers if we learn to listen without letting them take over. And here's where it gets really powerful. Once you realize that you decide how to respond, nothing can shake you. Insults lose their sting. Failures become stepping stones. Unexpected events no longer throw you off balance because you understand that your power lies in your reaction, not in the event itself. So the next time you feel anger, fear, or frustration rising, pause. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself that you are in control. Your emotions do not define you, your actions do. And the stronger your ability to manage your emotions, the stronger you become in every aspect of life. Your time and energy are your most valuable resources, yet they're also the easiest to give away. Every day, people pull you in different directions. Work demands your attention. Friends ask for favors. Family needs your support. And social media constantly fights for a piece of your mind. Before you know it, you're exhausted, stretched thin, and left with nothing for yourself. But here's the truth. Mentally strong people don't let the world dictate where their energy goes. They set boundaries and protect their space like their life depends on it, because in many ways it does. The Stoics understood this well. They believed that our most precious asset isn't money or possessions. It's our inner peace. And yet, most of us give it away without thinking twice. Seneca warned against this when he said, "People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy." Think about that for a moment. If someone tried to take money from your pocket, you'd resist. But when people take your time, your most irreplaceable asset, you give it away freely. Why? Maybe it's guilt, maybe it's fear of disappointing others, maybe it's the habit of always putting others first. But here's the thing, saying yes to everyone else all the time means saying no to yourself. And mentally strong people don't do that. They understand that without clear boundaries, they'll never have the time or energy to focus on what truly matters, whether that's their goals, their health, or their peace of mind. So, how do you start setting boundaries? First, recognize that it's not selfish, it's necessary. Saying no to something that drains you doesn't mean you don't care. It means you value yourself enough to protect your well-being. You wouldn't let someone walk into your home and trash the place, so why let people invade your mental space with negativity, unnecessary obligations, or constant distractions? One of the biggest misconceptions about boundaries is that they push people away. But in reality, the right people respect boundaries. The ones who don't, they were never meant to have full access to you in the first place. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, the people and energy you allow into your life shape who you become. If you surround yourself with constant stress, drama, and obligations that don't serve you, don't be surprised if you feel drained, anxious, or lost. Now let's talk about practical ways to set boundaries. First, identify what truly matters to you. What are your priorities? What fuels your energy instead of depleting it? Once you're clear on that, it becomes easier to say no to everything that doesn't align with those values. Next, practice the art of saying no without over-explaining. You don't owe anyone a detailed justification for protecting your time. A simple, "I can't commit to that right now" is enough. And most importantly, don't feel guilty. Protecting your energy isn't an act of selfishness, it's an act of self-respect. If you don't prioritize yourself, no one else will do it for you. At the end of the day, setting boundaries isn't about shutting people out. It's about making sure you have enough energy for what truly matters. When you stop saying yes to every demand and start saying yes to yourself, you'll notice something incredible. You feel lighter, more focused, and in control of your life. And that, my friend, is the foundation of true mental strength. Life doesn't always go the way we want. We face setbacks, make mistakes, and sometimes find ourselves in situations that feel unfair. It's easy to blame circumstances, point fingers, or tell ourselves that we're just unlucky. But here's the hard truth. Mentally strong people don't waste time making excuses. They take full responsibility for their actions, their choices, and ultimately their lives. The Stoics believed that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. Epictetus put it best when he said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." That's what real strength looks like. Owning your decisions, learning from your mistakes, and refusing to see yourself as a victim of life's circumstance. Think about the most successful, resilient people you know. Do they sit around complaining about how unfair life is, or do they take action, adjust, and find a way forward? The difference between those who grow and those who stay stuck isn't intelligence, talent, or luck, it's responsibility. When you own your actions, you take back your power. When you blame others, you give that power away. Now, taking responsibility doesn't mean being overly critical of yourself or beating yourself up for past mistakes. That's not the point. The goal isn't to drown in guilt, it's to learn and improve. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, believed that every failure was an opportunity for self-reflection. He advised that at the end of each day we should review our actions and ask, what did I do well? What could I have done better? What will I improve tomorrow? That's how you grow, not by avoiding mistakes, but by using them as stepping stones. Here's a simple but powerful exercise. Think of a challenge you're facing right now. Maybe it's a financial issue, a relationship struggle, or a personal goal you haven't achieved yet. Instead of blaming external factors, ask yourself, what part of this is within my control? What actions can I take to improve this situation? It's a shift in mindset that changes everything. The truth is, life will throw obstacles your way. You'll face difficult people, unexpected problems, and moments where things feel unfair. But the strongest people, the ones who truly thrive, are the ones who don't waste energy complaining. They adapt. They take ownership. They look at every setback as a lesson, not a punishment. So the next time you catch yourself making an excuse, pause. Ask yourself, is this helping me or is it holding me back? Because at the end of the day, no one else is responsible for your success, your happiness, or your growth. That's on you. And once you fully embrace that truth, you become unstoppable. We are often our own worst critics. When we make a mistake, fall short of our goals, or struggle with something, the voice inside our head can be ruthless. Why did I mess up again? I should be doing better. I'll never get this right. If someone spoke to us the way we sometimes speak to ourselves, we wouldn't tolerate it. Yet, for some reason we allow that harsh inner dialogue to run unchecked. But here's the truth. Mentally strong people don't tear themselves down. They practice self-compassion, not self-criticism. The Stoics had a deep understanding of human imperfection. They didn't expect themselves or anyone else to be flawless. Instead, they focused on progress, on learning, on growing, on improving. Marcus Aurelius in Meditations reminded himself, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." That's a powerful shift in perspective. Instead of dwelling on past mistakes, the Stoics encourage people to wake up each day with a renewed sense of purpose and self-acceptance. Think about this. When a friend makes a mistake, what do you say? You probably encourage them, remind them that they are human, and tell them to learn from it and move forward. Now, why don't we do the same for ourselves? Why do we hold ourselves to impossible standards, expecting perfection while accepting the flaws of others? Self-compassion isn't about making excuses. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a close friend. Let's be real, you will make mistakes. You will have days where you feel like you're failing, where nothing seems to go right. But beating yourself up over it doesn't make you better. It makes you hesitant, fearful, and doubtful of your own abilities. The Stoics believed that the mind is like a garden. What you plant is what grows. If you constantly feed it negative thoughts, don't be surprised when self-doubt takes over. But if you practice self-compassion, you create an environment where resilience, confidence, and self-respect can flourish. So, how do you start? First, pay attention to your inner dialogue. When you catch yourself in negative self-talk, stop. Ask yourself, would I say this to someone I care about? If the answer is no, then why say it to yourself? Second, learn from your mistakes instead of dwelling on them. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Every challenge, every failure is shaping you into a stronger version of yourself. Finally, remind yourself that growth takes time. You don't become wise overnight. You don't develop resilience in a day. Progress is slow, and that's okay. As long as you're moving forward, you're on the right path. The next time you feel tempted to criticize yourself, take a deep breath and reframe it. Instead of "I should have done better," try "I'm learning and improving." Instead of "I always mess up," try "This is a setback, not a defeat." That small shift in language makes a world of difference. At the end of the day, the strongest people aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who fall, get up, and keep moving without tearing themselves down in the process. That's the real power of self-compassion. There is no finish line when it comes to growth. The moment you think you know everything, the moment you believe you've reached your peak, that's when you start to decline. Life is always moving, always changing, and those who refuse to learn, adapt, and evolve will eventually find themselves stuck, watching as the world passes them by. But mentally strong people understand something crucial. Growth is a lifelong process. There is no point at which you arrive. You keep learning, keep improving, keep refining yourself until your very last breath. The Stoics embodied this mindset. Marcus Aurelius, despite being the most powerful man in the world, never saw himself as above learning. Every day he read, wrote, and reflected, reminding himself of his own limitations and the vastness of what he didn't know. He once wrote, "The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, challenges, failures, and even setbacks are all opportunities to grow. But you have to be willing to learn from them. Many people think learning stops after school or after they reach a certain level of success. But the truth is, your ability to keep growing determines how far you go in life. The moment you stop challenging yourself, stop seeking new knowledge, stop stepping outside your comfort zone, that's when you start to stagnate. And stagnation for a strong mind is worse than failure, because at least failure teaches you something. Stagnation just keeps you in the same place, year after year, wondering why nothing is changing. So, how do you make lifelong learning a habit? First, develop intellectual humility. Understand that no matter how much you know, there is always more to learn. Seneca believed that wisdom is not in knowing all the answers, but in seeking them relentlessly. He wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." That means reading books, having deep conversations, and studying new skills, not because you have to, but because growth itself is the reward. Second, embrace failure as part of the learning process. People who are afraid of looking foolish, of making mistakes, of stepping into the unknown, they never grow. Why? Because they avoid the very experiences that teach the most. Every time you fail, every time you struggle, you gain something invaluable: wisdom. But only if you choose to see failure as a lesson rather than a defeat. Third, challenge yourself to step outside your comfort zone regularly. Growth doesn't happen in routine. It happens in discomfort, in uncertainty, in the moments when you don't have all the answers. The Stoics believed that we should seek out difficult things, not because suffering is the goal, but because growth is. Epictetus taught that we should train our minds the way an athlete trains their body, through discipline, challenge, and continuous improvement. And finally, never let ego stop you from evolving. One of the biggest barriers to learning is thinking you already know enough. The wisest people never assume they have it all figured out. They ask questions. They listen more than they speak. They remain open to new perspectives, even if they challenge their existing beliefs. That's why truly strong people, mentally, emotionally, and intellectually, are always growing. At the end of the day, life rewards those who are willing to adapt. The world changes, industries evolve, people grow. If you refuse to evolve with it, you'll get left behind. But if you commit to lifelong learning, to challenging yourself, to staying curious and open, you'll never stop growing. And that, more than anything, is what keeps you strong. Life isn't about avoiding hardship. It's about becoming strong enough to face anything. The habits we've talked about today aren't just ideas. They're tools that can help you navigate challenges, master your emotions, and build the kind of mindset that nothing can break. But remember, knowledge alone isn't enough. You have to apply it every single day. So, as you move forward, ask yourself, am I embracing change or resisting it? Am I in control of my emotions or letting them control me? Am I protecting my time, taking responsibility, practicing self-compassion, and continuing to learn? Because this daily practice is what separates those who live with strength from those who crumble under life's weight.